first commentary of the day. It's Trophy Day in the East End of Glasgow. It's Celtic against St Mirren with Steve McGinn and Liam McLeod.
Yeah, Trophy Day and party time here as the Celtic supporters welcome their heroes out onto the pitch in unison, waving flags that say 4 in a row. And the St Mirren players afforded them a guard of honour as well. Both sets of players are now out on the pitch, either side of the sponsors. Ball there, just in front of that is the referee and his assistants, and the handshakes taking place here on another stunning day here in Glasgow. The sun splitting the skies and the pyrotechnics going off over in that far corner in the northeast corner of the stadium where the safe standing is. And that billows up high into the sky. And another momentous occasion for Celtic Football Club. But it's not just about them this afternoon. St Mirren come here with hopes of a second successive European qualification, still alive on the final day of the campaign. And that is a major achievement in itself for Stephen Robinson, who's had another fine season at the helm of the Paisley club. Callum McGregor just pointing the mascots off the pitch, the two skippers. Mark O'Hara on the other side. And the coin toss taking place just now. Brendan Rodgers standing close to more history as Celtic manager, as he continues to rack up the trophies. He's on 11. He is the third most successful Celtic manager. He's the 6th most successful manager in Scottish football history. And he has the chance to secure a 3rd treble as Celtic manager next week and that Scottish Cup final. Schmeichel in goal for him today. Johnston, Carter Vickers, Scales, Taylor, Engels, McGregor, Bernardo, Kuhn, Edan, Maida. St Mirren with Hemming in goal. Fraser, Gogic, Taylor, Alabayusu, Phillips, Boyd, Muntz, O'Hara and John. And it's Ayunga and Mandron leading the line for Saints, who've been the guests at the party before at the end of a season, and they are once again today. The scene just about set, but before kick-off there will be a minute's applause for the former Celtic chairman Jack McGinn, who sadly passed away earlier this week. A really important figure in Celtic's history. He started working for the club in the mid-60s and all the way through to the mid-90s. A minute's applause for Jack McGinn. Jack McGinn remembered there he actually started working on the Celtic View, which is the first club newspaper in British football, before taking on much more senior roles at the club, stepping down in '91 as chairman and left the board after Fergus McCann's takeover in 1994. And a really emotional moment for one of his grandchildren who's sitting beside me, Stephen.
Yeah, bear with me, Liam, I'll be a minute.
That's okay, understandable. An emotional moment for the McGinn family and for the Celtic support. The St Mirren get the game underway here in their light blue kit, shooting from right to left towards the Jock Stein stand end, and Celtic in their green and white hoops, as you would expect here, shooting towards the Lisbon Lions stand, east end of the stadium. It's with Alex Gogic, who launches it long with the right foot out to the far side, where it will be chased down by Alabayusu, who's had a good spell on loan at the club. Greg Taylor defending it, and it goes behind for a goal kick to Celtic in the end of a St Mirren player last. And now it's with Carter Vickers, who shifts it out to Alistair Johnston on this near side, across the halfway line for Kuhn, infield to Engels, and back to Johnston. But that just shows you, Stephen, the kind of impact that your grandfather had at this club when you see 60,000 people standing on their feet and applauding in his memory.
Yeah, and he would have loved today. Celtic meant a lot to him, and he always said winning trophies is really special at his football club, and yeah, we never to take it for granted. So hard to do in a magnificent stadium to do it in. But you're just glad you mentioned Alabioso. He's been a huge part in St Mirren improving as a team. Without playing with natural wingers, he's so fast. He can quickly change between being that full-back up to being a winger, and a key part of next season's plans if they manage to get him signed up.
And a couple of St Mirren players playing their last game today, we know that. Richard Taylor, Keelan Boyd-Muntz, perhaps the goalkeeper Hemming, Alabioso as well. We mentioned it's Celtic on the ball here though, with McGregor to Johnston, and then rolls it low out to Kuhn, level with the St Mirren 18-yard line, now attacking the penalty area, and Declan John, and a misunderstanding with Johnston. It's not too often that happens between those two, and it was behind for the goal kick. I will of course keep you up to date with what's happening in the other two Premiership matches, the final top 6 games taking place, the Hibs Rangers game, but perhaps more notably probably match of the weekend at Tannadice, Dundee United against Aberdeen in that battle for 4th spot. 4th, you go into the Europa League second qualifying round. If you finish 5th, it's second qualifying round in the Conference League, but because you're in the Europa League by finishing 4th, if you lose that one, you have a second bite of the cherry and Conference League QR3. So huge game at Tannadice, and St Mirren still very interested in the outcome of that one if they were to get a positive result here today. Easier said than done, given only Rangers and Bayern Munich have won here this season as visiting sides. As Ida picks up, actually wins the free kick, which McGregor takes quickly and shifts it left to right of the centre circle for Johnston, then out to Kuhn on the near side touchline, down the line for Engels. It bobbles off him and out for a throw-in to St Mirren on this near side. 3 goalless minutes in here, and a couple of loose ones from Celtic, and Stephen Robinson won't be too devastated by witnessing that, I wouldn't have thought.
No, but I think it's probably important to recognise St Mirren's part in that. At no point are they allowing Celtic just to get their heads up and get their first few passes in, start to enjoy the game. You see Richard Taylor, a centre half, coming all the way through there with Arnie Engels and not letting them just get the ball and enter the final third very easily.
Long ball forward for St Mirren. Alabioso was the target. Celtic win it back through Greg Taylor. Now it's with McGregor across the halfway line. He and Bernardo, the only two who started at Pittodrie on Wednesday, who start today. Bernardo, short ball to McGregor, to Johnston now, right angle of the St Mirren box, out to Kuhn on this near side. Rolls it with the left foot infield to McGregor, who squares it to Greg Taylor. Delicate chip ball in, headed away by O'Hara, and the clearance completed by the former Celt Marcus Fraser. Although it's still in or around the St Mirren box, he eventually comes off Alabioso and out for a Celtic throw-in, level with the St Mirren 18-yard line. And of course, as ever, as a visiting side, it's just about getting through these opening 10 minutes or so unscathed, because so often Celtic can breach you early and then it becomes a really long afternoon. And Scales picks up on the far side to McGregor, out to Greg Taylor, and then forward to Bernardo, back to McGregor, now with Johnston. Gets it out to Kuhn wide on the right, level with the edge of the D of the St Mirren box, attacking Declan John. Onto his left side now, pokes it back to Engels. He goes back to McGregor. McGregor then dancing into the St Mirren box, good play. Turns it with the left foot out to the right, Engels low ball across. Hemming has it taken off him by his own man Gogic, who gets it away just, and now it's with Engels. Now Johnston fires it across, Hemming loses it for a second time. It's pulled back and eventually St Mirren are able to get it away. It's a lovely little touch there, the back heel by Ayunga, but play's going to have to be stopped because Zach Hemming is down, injured inside his own 6-yard area. It stays 0-0 here, almost in 5 minutes. The opening goal has gone in though in the final weekend of the top 6 in the Premiership. It's come at Easter Road, and Cammy Bell's watching Hibs Rangers. Cammy, who's it gone to?
So it's an absolute gift from Hibs. It's a goal kick for Hibs. Rocky Bashiri actually passes it back to Smith, and obviously they're dropped on the 6-yard line, tries to clip out to this right hand side. Nico Raskin wins a clear header, plays it through to Dessers, who's all on his own, sort of 14-15 yards out, just takes a touch, spins, smashes into the corner. An absolute gift, and it's 1-0 here to Rangers at Easter Road.
So Dessers, his 18th league goal of the season, which is 2 more than Maidan Murray, and yet he still has his detractors.
Unbelievable, and it's still, I mean, over the course of the summer I'm sure there'll be some sort of interest in Dessers, and I think over the summer in pubs and restaurants there'll still be Rangers fans split. Shall we sell him, will we not sell him, what do you actually do, because his stats are magnificent.
Yeah, really good, and another goal for him today. As I said, that's his 18th league goal, all told. It's his 29th of the season, so realistic chance he hits the 30-goal mark. Much maligned, particularly last season, but he's been there in front of goal for Rangers this season. It's been an ultimately disappointing campaign for them. They lead Hibernian at Easter Road in the final weekend. Hibs 0, Rangers 1. Still goalless here, as it is at Tannadice. And Zach Hemming looks like he's going to be okay to continue. The play still hasn't got back underway as yet. And it's going to be a St Mirren ball. And I would imagine it'd be an uncontested drop ball. We were in defensive possession at the time. And it's dropped at the feet of Fraser, who moves it back to Hemming, who sweeps it long and high with the right foot into the Celtic half. Scales has his eyes on it, nods it out to the far side. Greg Taylor helps it on its way. Alibayusi wins the header, nods it down, and Killian Phillips gets it back to Fraser. He's another who's been excellent for St Mirren. Killian Phillips was on loan at Aberdeen the second half of last season. In fact, failed from the penalty spot in their Scottish Cup semi-final defeat to Celtic just over a year ago. Richard Taylor picks up on the left of the St Mirren defence. Forward into the Celtic half for O'Hara. Low ball out to this near side for John. Goes back to Richard Taylor, and Gogic in a bit of trouble there as he smashes it off Maida, who was almost in on top of him. Very dangerous ball that Richard Taylor played there, square across his defence. So when Dyson Maida's buzzing around in that kind of area, you've got to be even more careful.
It actually wasn't as dangerous as it should be. Dyson Maida just comes from nowhere off the back of Alex Gogic's shoulder, and yeah, you just have to be so careful with square passes when Maida's about.
St Mirren on the ball with Mandron in the centre circle. It's an early one forward, looking for Ayoun, get the chase. Out comes Schmeichel, who read it well, and then it's rolled low by Schmeichel into touch over on the north stand side for a St Mirren throw-in. Michael Stewart watching this, 8 minutes in, 0-0. What are you making of it?
It's quite cagey at the moment so far. Obviously nothing surprising in terms of who's dominating possession, but obviously for St Mirren, they just need to make sure that they don't get too disjointed after that sort of short break with the knock to the goalkeeper as well, because you know that Celtic are just going to continue to press home that advantage and try to get themselves in front as early as possible.
And 29 goals for Cyril Dessers this season, Mike. He's closing in on the 30 mark.
Yep. What do you want me to say?
I'm just wondering how you would rate his season.
Yeah, of course, I'm being facetious there. To answer the question that Stephen McGinn was asking there, look, for me, I still don't think Cyril Dessers is a number 9 striker that's going to lead a championship winning side. So for Rangers, if they want to try and get themselves challenging, I think they need to improve in that position personally.
It's Alistair Johnston for Celtic, rolls it low out to Kuhn on this near side. Maybe get to Tannadice, an update from Willie when we get an opportunity. It's McGregor at the edge of the box, shoots, deflected behind for the corner. You never know where it's going to end up when Callum McGregor is there at the edge of the box, normally on target, and he's been scoring from distance this season. Blocked by Boyd Munson behind for a Celtic corner over on the far side.
Yeah, what St Mirren are doing, they're making sure that none of the midfielders, so Callum McGregor stepping onto the ball, Caelan Boyd-Munce is out so quick. What they are, they're giving up maybe Greg Taylor, the option for Greg Taylor to come on and have a shot. They're just making sure absolutely Callum McGregor can't let fly from there. As you said, so dangerous.
It's a short corner. Celtic, Engels has it, and then out to McGregor, and the referee stopped for some reason. I have to say, I'm assuming Engels passed it to somebody who got it back there, and I just didn't notice it. But because he seemed to just run away with the ball from the corner.
It's the old-fashioned one where Greg Taylor's taken it, and Arnie Engels pretended that it's not been touched, and he's taken it. But I think you have to alert, to be fair to the ref, I think you have to maybe alert him that you're going to do that, because as he said, it looks as if Arnie Engels just had a double touch.
Engels will take, this time it's coming into the box, right-footed, in-swinger, it's a good one as well on top of the keeper, but it sails over the head of he and Richard Taylor in behind the safety of a goal kick for St Mirren. It is 0-0 here, Rangers leading Hibs 1-0 at Easter Road, and it remains goalless between Dundee United and Aberdeen. That could be a right cagey affair in the city of Discovery this afternoon. And remember, highlights of all 3 top 6 concluding matches on Sports Scene this evening at 7:15 on the BBC Scotland channel, repeated later on in the evening on BBC One. And we'll keep you right across what's happening. And tomorrow the bottom 6 finishes off. St Johnstone, Dundee, Ross County, Motherwell, Kilmarnock against Hearts. Hearts just announcing earlier today that Liam Fox will be leaving at the end of the season. Of course, the imminent arrival of Derek McInnes very much in the offing as Declan John picks up midway inside his own half. Low ball with the right foot forward from Ayun Gau's brought crashing to the ground by Carter Vickers, who's returned to the Celtic team today. Good timing by he, because the Scottish Cup final just 7 days away. The Celtic go treble hunting again. Free kick here for the visitors. Just looking to slow the game down a little bit. You never know for St Mirren. Scrappy goalless draw might do them, depending on what happens up the road in Dundee today.
I think it's worth noting as well, from a St Mirren point of view, you've got to find small margins in a game like this. It's a must-win at the hardest place in the country to come and visit. This game becomes less and less about the result the longer the game goes on. For Celtic fans, it becomes about trophy day. So can St Mirren run down the clock and get to the stage where can they go nick it in the second half?
Headed out for a throw-in over on the far side. Alabayusi lets it go out, and this is a St Mirren throw-in in an attacking position here, about level with the Celtic 18-yard line in front of the north stand as St Mirren attack the goal to our left. It's bowled back by Phillips. Thought that would come into the box there. He's gone back to Fraser, chips it in, comes off a Celtic head back towards Schmeichel's goal, and eventually he clutches onto it, drops to the ground. And he's having a look at the referee David Dickinson and wondering if he was maybe fouled there. Schmeichel came back into the team last week, injured on Nations League duty with Denmark against Portugal in March. Long ball for Maida to chase. Alabayusu and Fraser are defending it, and Fraser puts it behind for another Celtic corner after St Mirren had committed bodies forward. That ball came racing down the left and Maida was chasing it, so Fraser took no chances there. And the corner, has Bernardo done the little touch again there for Arne Engels. Not this time, because Engels has just used his fingers just to move it along the quadrant. There's a chance here to swing this in on top of the St Mirren box again. Saints have everyone back to defend this. Engels' corner is headed on by Maida and headed away back out to the far side by a St Mirren defender, out for a Celtic throw-in right down by the corner flag over there on the Celtic left. St Mirren have been excellent post-split, collecting 8 points out of a possible 12 ahead of this one. Unbeaten post-split. They're learning as they go along, because you might remember 2 seasons ago, eventually it breaks down for Celtic in the far side off Maida and behind for the goal kick. You might remember they toiled post-split, and at that point, perhaps many think job's done for St Mirren. Top 6, that's a big target for them at the start of a season, so anything after that's a bonus. But the bar's been raised in recent years by Stephen Robinson. European qualification last season, and they're still, as we speak, in the mix for that this time around.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, the scenes after the Ross County game, because there's obviously a bit of relief in terms of not being involved in that relegation battle, playoff battle, but I think they've got a real confidence, a real belief in the group that they could go into the top 6 and really compete. And as you say, I know it's very surprising to go the 4 games in the split, top 6 so hard unbeaten, but as I say, I think this team is getting better. I think the recruitment's been excellent from January onwards, and really not wanting the season to end the way they're playing.
It's a poor ball by Richard Taylor out to this near side for Declan John. Can't control it. It's a Celtic throw-in, which Kuna Lee for Johnston. Bowls it infield to Bernardo. He pokes it back to Johnston. Under pressure from O'Hara. He turns it into the centre circle for Scales. He rolls it out to Greg Taylor on the left. Down the left touchline there for Maida. Chance to run Alabayusu. Tries to pull it back. Comes off the St Mirren fullback. Behind for yet another Celtic corner over on the far side. 0-0 after 15. A chance for Engels to put Hemming's goal under pressure again here. Celtic 0, St Mirren 0. Goalless at Tannadice. Hibs 0, Rangers 1 at Easter Road. As it stands in the top 6, and it's Engels who's going to swing this in, as I say, with the right foot. Again, everyone back for St Mirren, and it comes. Hemming punches it with the right fist. It comes out to the reverse near side here, and Kuna let it go out for a Celtic throw-in. St Mirren defending pretty well. I mean, one of the real strong aspects of the team, not just this season, has been their organisation, and a lot of the credit for that goes down to the coaching staff headed up by Robinson down there. As Johnston tries to take it on for Celtic, it breaks down. Bernardo's there to pick up the scraps and roll it back to Carter Vickers, who puts it into the centre circle for Scales. Now it's with McGregor. To the left there, Greg Taylor looks up, long, high ball in, Hemming claims, and it will remain goalless.
That there from Zach Hemmings is one of the biggest improvements in St Mirren in terms of their season. They lost a lot of goals from corners, second phase of corners early in the season. Zach Hemmings played with him at Kilmarnock. He's excellent, he's really confident coming for things. If he's not sure, he's happy to punch like that one out for a throw-in, and Celtic going to throw in crosses. They've got a goalkeeper that's willing to come and catch them.
Long ball from Hemming out to the far side, one in the air by Greg Taylor. His header comes off the head of Gogic. Cypriot forward there to O'Hara, who flicks on looking for Ayunga, but McGregor comes across and wins it back for Celtic, and it's McGregor to Scales, and he plays it short to Carter Vickers. Back to Scales, and then to Carter Vickers again, to Johnston. The run ahead from Engels. I think he'd just gone offside there, but the flag stays down for now. Engels into the box, comes off Richard Taylor, and eventually the offside flag does go up, and St Mirren have a free kick deep inside their own half. And yeah, they've got to 17 minutes, and a couple of decent balls in from Engels, from corners in particular, a couple of blocks, but so far Hemming's not been unduly troubled. He had a couple of little fumbles early on, but
I think that run from Arnie Engels, although he was offside, I think it's important for St Mirren to almost, with Richard Taylor, he's going really aggressive, thinking Arnie Engels wants the ball, but there he's made this decision to run in behind, giving him something else to think about. It was a really good run from the young Belgian.
Free kick will be taken here by Hemming. There has been another goal scored. It's come at Easter Road again, and Cammy Bell's watching.
Yeah, it's a goal for Hibs. They're back on level terms, and again it was a breakaway from Hibs. Good play down the left-hand side from Boyle, who manages to get free, whips the ball in across. Kieran Bowie's in the middle, and he sweeps it past Jack Butland through his legs to make it 1-1.
1-1 at Easter Road, and the deadlock's been broken at Tannadice. Willie Miller.
It has, Liam, yeah, and it goes to the visitors. Aberdeen taking the lead through Pockles. Really powerful run from Graham Shinney down the left-hand side. Drives the ball across the face. It looked as though it was going to be an easy tap-in for McGrath, but Richard somehow managed to keep it out. It rebounds to Ockles, who drives it into the back of the net. Aberdeen deserve this. They've been thoroughly on top, creating a number of opportunities, and they take the lead here in Dundee.
Well, I mentioned the prize for finishing fourth, and you get that extra go at European football if you were to lose the Europa League second qualifying round tie. And that's an important goal for Aberdeen as Maida crosses in for Celtic. It bobbles around and then it's cleared by O'Hara. Of course, Aberdeen, if they win the Scottish Cup next week, tallest of orders going by what happened on Wednesday at the Tawdry, but they've got that chance, always the chance. And all the European spoils that Hibs are eyeing up for finishing third could go to the northeast. That's for next week. For this week, it's Dundee United 0, Aberdeen 1. 1-1 at Easter Road and goalless here. And St Mirren have a thrown up the pitch. And perhaps this one will be bowled straight into the Celtic box from Killian Phillips. Been plenty of this season for St Mirren. And Phillips is over it. Does get some movement from Declan John. And this is coming towards the 6-yard box, and it comes to the left angle of it. Mandron can't get onto it, and it's cleared by Johnston, and Kuhn completes that clearance up towards the halfway line. We're in the 20th minute here. St Mirren up the pitch again, on this time on the right with Marcus Fraser, turns it in field to Boyd Muntz, and then to Fraser again as he sidesteps away from the challenge. He's brought to the ground by Bernardo, and that will be a St Mirren free kick over on the far side touchline. Settled pretty well here. Saints just keeping Celtic at arm's length defensively, and now they're seeing some possession in the Celtic half.
Yeah, but it all comes from what we spoke about earlier before the game with Michael, in terms of Mika Mandron comes, he holds the ball up, and then he spins and he plays a ball in behind for Johnny Ayunga, who's really, really quick, wins a throw-in, and then St Mirren are able to get a bit of territory. They keep it alive, they win a throw-in, and immediately when they win the foul, Stephen Robinson's pointing, get it in the box, go and make Celtic defend.
Free kick then for Saints over on that right-hand side. Big line of players along the edge of the D of the Celtic box. It's pumped in by Phillips, high delivery, headed away by his compatriot Scales. Turned out to this left-hand side for Fraser. He's about level with the Celtic 6-yard line on the left. Back to John, gets the cross in and couldn't quite control it. Could Mandron? It bobbles away and it's cleared by Celtic as Boyd Muntz picks up. It's a big switch of play out to that right hand side where Alabayusi keeps it in play. Good little spell this for the visitors. And bounces off Maida and out for a St Mirren throw. Michael, hope you're alright. Was that you sneezing? Bless you if it was. St Mirren having a good little spell here.
What happens with live mics, Liam? Yep. Yes, they are. Yeah, they've responded pretty well, and they look fairly comfortable in terms of, you know, being away. Toughest ground in the country, but at the same time I don't think it's anything less than what we expect from St Mirren. You know, Stephen was just touching on it, that they're just extremely well organised. You know, they might not be everyone's cup of tea in terms of, you know, the way that they play, but they certainly do get the most out of the team.
Chip ball looking for Johnston, just skips away from him. Mikey, you're keeping across the other games as well. Obviously Hibs getting themselves level against Rangers, but it could be a massive goal for Aberdeen, scored by Jeppe Ockels at Tannadice.
I'll tell you what, Aberdeen, I mean, really summed it up perfect. I'm not sure how the original one didn't end up in the back of the net, but Jensen does really well to get the ball back into Ockels to stick it in the back of the net. Good goal from Aberdeen. They've, as Willie was saying, they've been bright, they've been good. And for Hibs, I mean, every time I'm looking at the game at Easter Road, they look good. They look really, you know, at it. Just a horrific goal, as Cammy spoke about, a horrific goal to put them 1-0 down to begin with.
Long ball from Zach Hemming for St Mirren into the Celtic half, breaks to Johnston. Just moves himself away from O'Hara, takes it out to the right hand side across the halfway line. Checks his run about level with the edge of the centre circle, flicks it with the outside of the boot, infield for Bernardo. And then out to Kuhn on this near side. Low ball back to Johnston. Celtic trying to find a way through here. Richard Taylor trying to get back at Kuhn, breaks to Bernardo. Stephen Robinson out there organising things as ever. And it comes to Liam Scales wide on the left hand side. He's in the St Mirren half. On the inside channel, rolls it out to the left, Greg Taylor. Infield for Bernardo. Turns it into the path of Engels, blocked by O'Hara though. O'Hara gets it away and then he's brought to the ground by Bernardo, and that'll be a free kick to St Mirren. Mark O'Hara, again, when you look through that entire St Mirren team, and they're all so important to what they're trying to achieve, and Mark O'Hara is no different. I mean, it's quite scary. The seasons seem to be passing as you get older, they seem to be passing quicker. Mark O'Hara, I remember making his debut here for Kilmarnock as a 16-year-old right back.
Yeah, I was talking to him recently. Started off at centre half as well, but him and Killian Phillips have got key roles in this St Mirren team in terms of they having to deal with the fullbacks coming up, as well as making it a 3v3 in midfield at all times. A lot of energy, a lot of legs, and I think that's why Stephen Robinson will have brought him back in the team for Adobe.
Yeah, Kilmarnock won that game actually under Kenny Shields. Only time they won here for a long time. Here's O'Hara winning the header, just the edge of the Celtic box. Breaks to John, to O'Hara. Lifts it to the left-hand side of the area, and Mandron shoots. He's got it on target as well, despite the tight angle. It's a comfortable save for Schmeichel, and it stays Celtic 0, St Mirren 0 in 24 minutes.
Liam Scales and Cameron Carter-Vickers, they're in a game. You know, playing really well as a partnership. Mika Mandron and Jonah Ayunga, they've really stepped up in the absence of Olasanya, and Cameron Carter-Vickers coming back into the team. It's a big test for him.
And it's not the worst effort from Mandron either, given where he was. He was left-hand side of the 6-yard box. He managed to get plenty in the shot. Schmeichel held on, as you would expect.
He's always been a big player for this St Mirren team under Stephen Robinson. He's always been a good link-up player, a good teammate. What he's added is that cutting edge this season. He is more, he looks more of a threat. He looks more like he can score from areas like that, but he's really wide, but he does well to get it on target. And big improvements in his game with the coaching of Stephen Robinson.
Big goals against Aberdeen and Dundee United recently as well, as Maida comes up the other end, but he slashes at it and he goes behind. It's under pressure from Alabayusi, who's getting the high fives from a couple of his teammates there. And one of the teammates offering the high fives is the aforementioned Killian Phillips, who's been called into the Republic of Ireland squad. Stephen, first call up for him, the senior level.
Yeah, and a proud boy from Dublin. He's absolutely ecstatic. It was a big call from Stephen Robinson in terms of he watched him at Aberdeen, identified the key traits that would fit into this St Mirren team. He's not someone that's going to drop and get the ball and make things happen. His off the ball work, his energy really is unmatched across the league, and you're actually looking at him now and thinking what an asset he is in that midfield still at a really young age, and now in the international squad.
Zach Hemming taking his time over this goal kick. The Celtic fans telling him to get a hurry up, and he hits it with the right foot out to the far side. And the header from Alabayusu goes back down the line and out for a Celtic throw-in, which Maida takes quickly and finds Ida. And in the periphery of things so far, as the Celtic number 9 comes back to Johnston, attacking the halfway line, rolls it out to Kuhn on the near side. First time to Engels, first time to Kuhn. Takes a touch and then passes it forward to Johnston, but Boyd Muntz is in the way. Greg Taylor nicks in just when Mandron was hoping to control it and set Ayunga away. Celtic back in possession. Scales with the low ball out to Maida on the left-hand side. Back to Scales, infield to Greg Taylor. And then back to McGregor. McGregor out to Scales on the far side. Down the line it goes, Maida chasing after it. Alabayusu trying to stick with him, and he's defended Daisen Maida really well so far. Alabayusu is to dink it out under pressure for a throw-in. But you're better to do that than take a risky pass across towards your own box. The only other option was putting it out for a Celtic throw-in, which they took quickly. Greg Taylor forward to Ida, to McGregor. It's passed forward, cut out by Gogic. And now it's Mandron going down, fouled by Scales. 27 played, 0-0. And as it stands, St Mirren will be playing in European football next season. As it stands, long way to go, of course. Dundee United 0, Aberdeen 1, Hibs 1, Rangers 1, and goalless here. The game here and the one at Tannadice, as it stands, has St Mirren finishing 5th in the Premiership, Stephen. Long way to go, but still, what a carrot that is dangling in front of them.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm sure the bench...
Sorry, Mikey, we'll get to you in a second, sorry.
I'm sure the bench know about that, but, I mean, you cannot afford to switch off here. You can't start to think like that. There's still a long way to go in the game.
Off you go, Mikey.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm not sure if Cammy had any more information, but I've just heard that there was something that happened at Easter Road right before Hibs had scored. It looked as if Rangers had the ball over the line, but VAR must have failed or wasn't intervening, and it literally went up the other end and Hibs scored.
All right, let's go to Cammy, who is at Easter Road watching. Clear it up for us.
Yeah, it was an interesting one. Unless I'll try and clear it up, Liam. Rangers went through, broke on goal, and it was Dessers that was going, Czerny, sorry, that was going through on goal, and Bashiri gets back, and what he does is he ends up sort of tripping over and falling over the ball on the line. It certainly looked over the line, but certainly what we're kind of getting from the SFA is there's no conclusive evidence to show that the ball's over the line. Certainly from this angle, there was a lot of Hibs fans asking questions, and it definitely will be a talking point, because literally Hibs go up the pitch the other end straight from that incident and score. The referee pulled both captains over, had a chat with them, and explained the situation, but again, VAR certainly looked at, but they had no evidence to show that the ball was over the line.
Nick Walsh, the referee, not like he's been involved in any other controversial decisions recently.
I was listening to your comments after the penalty that went against Dundee the other night. It was at Dens. That, by the way, that will know how crucial that decision was tomorrow afternoon.
Well, it's already crucial, because St Johnstone got relegated because of it.
Yeah.
Farcical.
Yeah. Could be even more crucial to Dundee, who were immediately impacted by it there in the game the other night. Going to be a tense one between Dundee and Ross County tomorrow. Dundee are at St Johnstone, County at home to Motherwell, as they try and avoid that playoff place. As Michael says, St Johnstone, Perth Saints relegated as a result of that. Means they don't have the chance to save themselves tomorrow. There's Callum McGregor for Celtic, who are huffing and puffing a little bit here. It is Greg Taylor in the inside channel, rolling it low out to Maida on the far side, level the edge of the D of the St Mirren box, the left angle of the area to Engels, tries to twist it back towards Maida, cut out by Alabayusu. Scales heads forward. It's now with Bernardo, the edge of the St Mirren box, rolls it through, almost found Ida, just takes a deflection off Richard Taylor and pings out to this near side. Kuhn lays it back for McGregor, hits it first time, and his effort is skewed wide, high effort towards the left top corner, wrong side of the goal, framed by a considerable distance. Half an hour played, Celtic 0, St Mirren 0.
Just to go back to your point about Adam Ida playing in the periphery, Liam, this is where his argument, I mean, his goals to minutes is excellent, very hard to argue with his stats in that regard. But you're 30 minutes into a home game and you're looking at all the individual battles. Ryan Alabayusu absolutely knows he's in the game. Marcus Fraser knows he's in the game against Daisen Maida. Alex Gogic has had a really comfortable first 30 minutes against Adam Ida. This is a bit where it's not just about goals, it's not just about assists at Celtic. As a number 9, you have to be at it all the time.
Here comes St Mirren. Ayunga, as Stephen mentioned, he and Mandron are giving them big problems at the back. Greg Taylor's managed to nick it off him this time. Callum McGregor rolls it along the 18-yard line and finds Johnston. Johnston then into the path of Engels on this near side. Just steps across the halfway line and then back to Johnston. And then McGregor to Johnston again. Chip ball by Alistair Johnston, looking for Nicholas Kuhn. Just skips away from him though. And it's behind for a St Mirren goal kick. 31.5 on the clock. Stephen Robinson down there. I've often asked the question, Stephen McGinn, how many steps does Stephen Robinson do in the technical area during a football match? Love to know. I wonder if he monitors it.
Yeah, I think that's half the reason he keeps in such good shape. On top of his gym programme, the steps he does on match day.
That's ridiculous. It's fascinating to watch him. Brendan Rodgers quite the opposite. Off to his left, his compatriot. Much more calm demeanour on the touchline. Arms folded right now, the Celtic manager. His hands on the trophy later. Declan John for St Mirren coming forward and knocking it out to O'Hara, midway inside Celtic territory. Turn back to Keelan Boyd-Muntz. Chip ball into the Celtic area. Mandron giving chase with Carter Vickers, and the big defender did just enough to get it back to Schmeichel, but my goodness, there's some amount of rough and tumble going on between the two centre-backs and the two St Mirren strikers this afternoon here.
Yeah, it's a brilliant battle, and no surprise Mark O'Hara's upset there. It looked like a clear corner to St Mirren.
Here comes Celtic up the other end with Engels driving forward, level with the penalty spots. A lovely ball into a great area, too close to Hemming, and Bernardo just didn't arrive in time. It's quite simple. If Bernardo hits the 6-yard line in time, he's probably scoring with a first-time effort.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't want to be harsh on Adam Idah, but I think that's, the type of cross that's coming in. That's the bit where you think if Dyson Maida's is playing through the middle there, Dyson Maida's making contact, or at least he's kitting across the goalkeeper and maybe he's missed it, but I think you've got to know as a Celtic striker that ball is coming in.
Another award coming Maida's way tomorrow night, and will be named Scottish Football Writers Player of the Year. And already picked up the PFA one and the league sponsors one as well. And as it comes back to Schmeichel at the edge of his box, and then short ball to Scales out to the left for Greg Taylor. Thought about the early long delivery towards Idah. Instead he turns it infield to Scales, up towards the halfway line. Little ball infield for McGregor, then out to Johnston. Kuhn's on this near side touchline, that's where it goes. It's Kuhn, then drops the shoulder, comes in on his left side, and it's a square ball to Greg Taylor. Looks to disguise it forward there to Maida, cut out by Alabayusu. Phillips loses out. Now it's Bernardo, but the referee didn't like the challenge on Phillips by Greg Taylor, and that will be a St Mirren free kick. Elsewhere, Hibs 1, Rangers 1. Dessers and Bowie trading goals. As I said, goalless here. Dundee United 0, Aberdeen 1. As it stands, Aberdeen will finish 4th, and St Mirren would go above Dundee United right at the last knock-ins and collect that European spot. Dundee United would miss out altogether. But there will be a long way to go, of course, in those two games in particular. The Hibs Rangers one, less riding on that, obviously. Second and third secured for those two. Engels with a long clearance. Underneath it is Richard Taylor, facing his own goal though. He takes a couple of touches and moves out to the right side. Idah chasing him down, and it's Richard Taylor. Forward it comes to Mandron. His little touchback's not great, and now it's going to break to Johnston. Johnston then to McGregor in the centre circle. And he's challenged well by O'Hara, but it breaks to Carter Vickers. Now with Johnston on the right, out to the touchline for Kuhn. Faced by Declan John. To Johnston further ahead of him, back to Kuhn, level with the edge of the D of the St Mirren box. Little ball infield to McGregor, to Kuhn, then to Scales. Scales midway inside the St Mirren half, short to Greg Taylor, back to Scales, infield to McGregor. And now Engels on this near side to Johnston. They're going from right to left and then back again to try and find a way through. It's Kuhn, blocked by John, breaks to Johnston, back to Engels, now McGregor. Johnston level with the 18-yard line of Saints. Now with McGregor. McGregor goes back to Scales. We're in the final 10 minutes of the opening 45. Still goalless here in Glasgow. It's with Maida over on the left-hand side. And now Greg Taylor. They just cannot find a way through.
St Mirren players are working so hard. At no point are any Celtic players able to get the ball head up without contact there. It's brilliant work in the heat from St Mirren.
Saints have got a free kick as well. A foul on Marcus Fraser over on the far side. Played a couple of games for the Celtic first team. Played Marcus Fraser back in 2011. Played against Rennes in Europe. Played against Cali Thistle in a league game the season after. And they're doing a good job, Michael Stewart, right now, aren't they, St Mirren, of frustrating the champions?
Absolutely. I said that about 15 minutes ago. It's nothing more than what you've come to expect from St Mirren in regards to just being very well organised, difficult to break down, and certainly they've been able to frustrate Celtic big time. Not the sort of game performance that Celtic would have been wanting in the build-up to the cup final, and also at home in front of their fans as they're about to lift the trophy.
What's about to happen before that is they're about to take a corner, being towed behind by St Mirren over on the far side. Another chance for Arne Engels. St Mirren once more, everyone back. Brian Kerr's come to join Stephen Robinson at the edge of the technical area. And he's had the change in assistant as well during the season. Been a bit of upheaval amongst the management team for St Mirren. No problem though. If anything, things went in an upward trajectory after that as the corner comes in. It's beaten up high into the air by Hemming, still inside the box. Kuhn misjudges the header, but is able to get back onto it the second attempt and passes it with the foot back to Bernardo. Outside the box, back to Johnston, to McGregor. Out wide left for Engels, now attacking Alabayusu, plays it to McGregor. Back to Engels, is good quality from Celtic. The cross comes in, takes a touch behind, off the defender, and Celtic have another corner. Although St Mirren are claiming it's a goal kick.
It looked like a corner. What it is it's a brilliant 1-2 from McGregor and Engels. Sometimes when Celtic play that quick with the forward runs, the vision, it's so good and so hard to stop.
And it comes again towards Carter Vickers. Kuhn with a bicycle kick attempt which breaks back Bernardo's way. No more fresh air did the German. And Scales finds Greg Taylor to McGregor. Here they come again. Out to Engels, wide in the left. Important phase in the game for St Mirren. This Engels drives it into the box and it comes off John and behind for another Celtic corner. I mean, they're knocking on the door here. Hemming still really to make any big saves of note, but they're cranking up the pressure, and you know how important this period in the match is. You'll have come up against Celtic when you're getting towards the end of a half of football and you think you're getting the job done. Engels with it in off Scales, and Marcus Fraser taking no chances that it might have been a corner or a goal kick. He just boots it away into the Celtic half. It goes out for a throw-in which McGregor bowls back to Kasper Schmeichel. 6 minutes from half-time, and as I said there, you know how important this period in the match is for St Mirren.
Yeah, I mean, it's crucial, but not even, I mean, the psychology of it. I think it's important for the Dundee United players to feel at half-time that they're out the European places, apply that pressure again. And as I said, this game, as it gets to the 90 minutes, it becomes about the trophy day and players' families coming on. It becomes less and less about the result for the Celtic players and staff. And I mean, St Mirren, it's a big day for them.
Oh, that's brilliant from Mandron. Good hold-up play inside the Celtic half, gets it worked out wide right for Phillips, but his long ball towards Ayunga goes all the way through to Schmeichel. That was brilliant striker play by Mandron. Now it's with Bernardo for Celtic, who are around about 65% possession in the match, as Kuhn dinks it towards Bernardo. There's too much on it though. It was behind for the goal kick to St Mirren, and more applause from the St Mirren manager there for his players and the way they're sticking to their respective roles today. And although it feels as though Celtic have had a lot of the ball, I've been here many times this season, Stephen, where sometimes the visiting side surrender 20% more than St Mirren have right now. So 65% suggests that St Mirren have had plenty of the ball themselves, relatively speaking, for a visiting team here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Celtic players know they're in the game. I was through in the last game between the two sides in Paisley. I thought both sides were excellent in the day. It was a brilliant game of football. And St Mirren, they have a set way of playing. They make it hard for you. They're putting out a lot of energy. The bench is going to be really important to keep this energy up for St Mirren.
Final 5 minutes of the first half. It's Adam Ida driving down the left-hand side of the box. He did well, good little step over. His low ball across, cut out by Gogic though. McGregor gets it back to Greg Taylor. Short ball in field there to Engels, to Greg Taylor, to McGregor, out to Johnston, and then out to Kuhn on this right-hand side, taking on John. His ball across is cut out, and Celtic have another corner, this time on this near side in front of the visiting supporters. Celtic 0, St Mirren 0, Dundee United 0, Aberdeen 1, Hibs 1, Rangers 1. It's the story so far as the top 6 wraps up for 24-25. Here on Sports Sound and BBC Radio Scotland, across the frequencies, on digital, online at bbc.co.uk/sportscotland. Engels with an outswinging corner for Celtic here with the right foot on the Celtic right as they attack the goal to the right. In the Glasgow sunshine. Engels into the 6-yard box, flicked away by Gogic. Bernardo catches it on the volley. It's blocked by Richard Taylor. Header from Callum McGregor back into the St Mirren box, where it's dumped away to safety by Mandron. All the way through it comes to Kasper Schmeichel, who plays it short there to Johnston and then rolls it with the right foot to the left-hand side of the circle there for Scales. And out it goes to Greg Taylor for Celtic. Down the line for Maida. Here they come again, the champions. Maida skips back the way towards his own goal, midway inside the St Mirren half. Rolls it to Scales, forward to Bernardo. Bernardo's little ball to Engels, who slips, bounces back up, still he has it. Throws it to Johnston, then back in field to McGregor. Side foot with the left there to Greg Taylor. Taylor to the left angle of the box for Maida. Chipped ball in's a good one. Hemming comes to take and claims before Ida could get a sniff of it. And it stays Celtic 0, St Mirren 0 on 42 and a half.
That's what I said, the importance of Zach Hemmings in this St Mirren team. They're working so hard. They're not going to be able to stop every cross coming in the box, but what they have is a goalkeeper that's willing, if the delivery's too high, he's willing to come and get it and really relieve the pressure. And he's been a big signing again for St Mirren, Zach Hemmings.
And Hemming has it here. Just wonder, I know Stephen Robinson would fancy signing him on a permanent basis. Hemming, who is on loan from Middlesbrough. How realistic that is, I don't know, but they'll surely have asked the question, or will be asking the question. And a previous loan at Kilmarnock, of course, and was at Saints last season. That long ball for Celtic. Maida chasing. Maida's onto it, the byline. He's managed to pull it back. Almost found Kuhn. Declan John in the right place. Only half away. Bernardo back heels it, but it's a misunderstanding with Engels, and St Mirren get away with it. And it's Mandron holding it up expertly again on the far side. He's had a shot at goal as well, but his hold-up play is excellent. As Celtic claim they should get a free kick over on the far side. Looks as though they're going to get that, and a yellow card comes Killian Phillips' way for the foul on Bernardo over on the left-hand side. And we are about to tick into the final minute of the opening 45 here, and it remains goalless.
Astonishing speed there from Dyson Maida. People, you talk about how do you stop players, and the top players in this country over the years. I'm not sure. I mean, there was too much on the ball. Dyson Maida has absolutely no right to even chase it down, never mind catch it. And even when he catches it, he's now of a level where his quality, the cutbacks, really top draw.
Celtic free kick opportunity here as they try and get their noses in front before half-time, which is imminent. Opportunity then for Engels. Swings the ball in. It's headed away by Gogic. The fourth official's just grabbing his board, so we'll find out how much is being added on here. Celtic come again down the left, brilliant play. The hack over the line now there. It was Greg Taylor attacking the left-hand side. I think the referee has spotted that, so that's going to be a goal kick to St Mirren. It was actually Nicolas Kuhn who was driving down the left-hand side rather than Taylor. And it will be a goal kick, so there's 1 minute added, and we're into that now. So it's just about job done for St Mirren, and the Saints fans will not be able, it'll be irresistible to them to look at the As Live league table, the live standings, which show that they are going above Dundee United right now as things stand, with United losing at home to Jeppe Okkel's first Aberdeen goal. Dessers and Bowie trading goals at Easter Road. Hibs 1, Rangers 1, Aberdeen in front at Tannadice. Still nothing each here. And it's Alistair Johnston with a long ball. One last chance for Celtic perhaps here. It's Nicholas Kuhn, shrugs off John, who thinks he was fouled. Kuhn at the byline, pulls it across to the outside of the left boot. High ball, but it's too high for both Ida and Maida. Kept in play brilliantly by Greg Taylor on the far side. His cross isn't quite as good, and it goes behind for a goal kick. Could be his final appearance in the Celtic shirt at home. Greg Taylor yet to agree a new contract as the half-time whistle goes here at Celtic Park. And for St Mirren, it's so good at the moment for them, because as things stand, it's Europe again. They've still got 45 minutes to negotiate here. Mandron testing Kasper Schmeichel, and in truth, Zach Hemming's not really had too much to do when it comes to making saves. A couple of little fumbles early on in the piece, but he's generally had his organised, well-oiled defence in front of him, protecting that goal, restricting to Celtic to long-range efforts, which most of the time have been blocked. Saints have looked a little bit of a threat on the counter as well. The Celtic move towards the moment of picking up the SPFL Premiership trophy yet again. Another 45 to negotiate before they can get their hands on the silverware. And is this season about to get even better for St Mirren? We'll know in about an hour's time. Half-time here at Celtic Park is Celtic 0, St Mirren 0.
Football from Sports Sound.
Brilliant drop of the shoulder! What a goal!
From BBC Radio Scotland.
There's no substitute.
Thank you to Liam and to Stephen at Celtic Park. Full second half commentary to come from that one. What a story this would be for St Mirren. The first time ever back-to-back European qualification, but they still have a fair way to go in that game. Let's get to the match at Easter Road. Hibs up against Rangers, and get the half-time report from Cammy Bell.
Yeah, we're currently still under play here. We've got, I think there's 3 minutes added time on, but I'll give you the report anyway so far, Kenny. The Rangers started the game absolutely fantastically after 2 minutes. An absolute gift from Hibs. Rocky Bashiri did a goal kick. Rocky Bashiri plays it back to Smith, who underplays his kick out to O'Hara. Rico Raskin heads it towards the penalty spot for Cyril Dessers, who takes his touch and absolutely smashes it past Smith. The perfect start. Hibs' defence looked so rocky for the next 10 minutes. They really were rocked by that goal, but they managed to get back on. Junior Hoyle had a shot from 15 yards out, which Jack Butland had a comfortable save, but then came a controversial moment on 18 minutes. Rangers stole the ball. They were going up the pitch, and it was Czerny who got played through on goal. And he knocks it past Smith, and what happens is Rocky Bashiri actually gets himself back in, makes a little bit of a mess of it, manages to clear it on the line, and then Smith gathers from there, and then they break up the pitch. They play out Boyle on the left-hand side. He sweeps it across, and Bowie finishes it past Jack Butland. We then had a 2 or 3 minute delay in the game because Nick Walsh, the referee, had to check obviously the goal, but also was getting confirmation that the incident at the top end of the pitch hadn't crossed the line. Certainly the guidance from the SFA that we've had is there was no conclusive evidence to show the ball over the line, but certainly that'll be a talking point on Sports Scene tonight. Hibs then had another opportunity where Jack Erredale played a 40-yard raking pass over the top. Martin Boyle smashed it from 20 yards on the voile. What a goal this would have been, but just went past the post. We're still playing here at Easter Road, but currently it's Hibs 1, Rangers 1.
Yeah, it's a big call. We'll get Michael's thoughts in a couple of minutes' time. I've certainly seen a lot of reaction from Rangers fans on social media, not at all happy at that call at Easter Road. Let's get to the game at Tannadice. Dundee United at home to Aberdeen. Still playing there in the first half, Willie?
That's just a half-time whistle gone, Kenny, and it's Aberdeen 1, Dundee United 0. To be fair, in Aberdeen they played extremely well up until probably the last 10 minutes, where the home side have certainly come into it and, you know, had a couple of opportunities, but for the vast amount of that first half, it's been about Aberdeen. Very lively, very slick movement as well. Both fullbacks again getting forward. The best opportunity coming to Papa Gay, who, if only had a good first touch, might be a top quality player, but his first touch was poor. But this shot with a left foot curler was a decent one, and Dave Richards had to make a really good save to his right hand side. And then Leighton Clarkson, who's been whipping in corners, it's been really difficult to deal with defensively. And 2 or 3 of them have whizzed by the goalkeeper Richards, who's got to take more domination in that situation. McGrath hits the crossbar as well. Really good, skillful movement from right hand side. Gets it onto his left foot just inside the box and curls it. But unfortunately for him, it comes off the face of the bar, and then it's cleared. Then 15 minutes, Poco's breaks the deadlock. Graham Shinnie, brilliant down the left hand side. Drives across the face of the goal. Kevin Nisbet looked as though it was going to be an easy tap in, but somehow Dave Richard managed to block it. It falls out to Jensen, who then cuts it back to Ockles, who drives it into the back of the net to give Aberdeen that lead. And you know, they've been well deserved of it. They've had the bulk of possession, have the better opportunities, but the last 10 minutes it's been Dundee United that's come into it. Young Cleo Harding having a low strike from 22 yards that Mitov had to be pretty smart to cover low down to his right hand side, and then across from the right hand side coming in from Sevels, who's playing in the midfield area, not in the back three. For Dalby, for Sam Dalby, normally deadly in that situation. He's a bit unlucky, I would suggest. Comes to the back post, he tries to put it back across the face of the goal. It just slips past the post. So I think it's very deserved at half time that Aberdeen have that 1-goal lead.
Thank you to Willie Miller. So Celtic 0, St Mirren 0, Dundee United 0, Aberdeen 1, Hibs 1, Rangers 1. Let's then look at the live top half of the table. Celtic 92 points, Rangers 75, Hibs 58. Their positions were all guaranteed, of course, before kick-off today. This is where it gets interesting. Aberdeen 56 points, St Mirren 50 points, Dundee United 50 points, Saints with a better goal difference. So as things stand, St Mirren will get back-to-back European campaigns. Dundee United, what a huge disappointment that would be if they fail to make the European spots after what's been a really strong season for them. The reward for 5th place, which I say currently lies with St Mirren, is a place in the second round of qualifying for the Conference League. Michael Stewart is alongside me in the studio. Let's then get to that game. We just heard the half-time report, Michael, from Tannerise. Two sides, as we spoke about earlier on, not in great form, really poor performances in both of them in recent weeks. But this, if it remains this way, is going to give Aberdeen some sort of lift ahead of the Scottish Cup final next Saturday.
Absolutely. I mean, look, after the last couple of performances and results, it's been a wee bit chastening for Aberdeen. O'Coll's getting his first goal as well, which is clearly going to be a positive for them. They've got to feel some sort of positivity going into that cup final, because it's not exactly been in abundance in the last few games. Next week's a different kettle of fish, of course, but going to Tannadice and performing pretty well. You know, they've looked a lot more energetic. They've looked a lot more dynamic going forward, and the goal was a good goal. You know, already touched on that. So it's, I mean, to me, yes, positive for Aberdeen, but the bigger concern, not the bigger concern, but the bigger story is, if Dundee United lose this, it's
from the position, the position they were in, Michael.
It's literally, you know, well, it is. It's not literally. Well, it is literally. It's 5 defeats, lost every post-split game.
Yeah.
And St Mirren, who they had a 9-point advantage on, are going to make that up. That is quite incredible if the live table is how it finishes, and St Mirren managed to get European football. Credit to them. And I hear Jim before the game, and I absolutely agree with him in terms of, if Dundee United were given this opportunity before the game of being at home against Aberdeen and being able to potentially finish the campaign in 5th, they would have absolutely snapped their hand. Everybody from Dundee United's perspective would have snapped their hand off, no question about it. But you have to have the context into it to give that little bit of a understanding how, if the season finishes and they lose this game, or they drop out the European spots, I still feel it's positive campaign, but try convincing the Dundee United fans of that.
They'll be gutted, mate.
In its you know, entirety, when it just happens. You know, when it's so soon after the result and the performance. it'll be difficult. But I think when it comes over the course of the season, they will view it as, you know, as a positive season, even though hugely disappointing that if they don't get European football.
Yeah, Willie was saying there, you know, they finished the half quite strongly, Dundee United, but Willie was also saying, and he's seen a bit of United, certainly that game against St Mirren last weekend, that they've looked a side that's been lacking in energy.
They look jaded.
Yeah,
they do. And the difficulty is that, you know, how do you turn that around so close to the end of the campaign? I don't think there is any obvious solutions to that. So, yeah, it's a big second half for Dundee United. Just, you know, obviously we've spoken about Aberdeen trying to get some positivity going into next week. For Dundee United, there's a feeling of they've got to get a wee bit of positivity going into what is then a long summer break.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so as things stand, as we say, St Mirren would have European football. We'll get back to Celtic Park, get the thoughts of Stephen again. We'll get more from Cammy Bell, Michael, and your thoughts as well, because, I say, just looking at social media, Rangers fans, lots of them getting in touch with the programme, going absolutely nuts with that decision through at Easter Road. So stay tuned to Sports Sound right here on BBC Radio Scotland.
Next weekend is Cup Final weekend.
The stage is set.
A showpiece for the season end.
Home of the legendary occasions.
He has done it!
Home of the iconic celebrations.
The squad dance on the Hampden Plinth.
Home of history in the making.
A moment they will never ever forget.
We're going all the way. The Scottish Cup Final lives here on Saturday afternoon.
And it's Aberdeen who take the lead.
With Aberdeen versus Celtic.
The treble dream is alive and kicking.
And next Sunday afternoon, it's Glasgow City versus Rangers.
She gets her hands on the Scottish Cup.
Watch on BBC One Scotland. Listen on Radio Scotland.
You're listening to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland. So we've heard from Willie there. We've had a wee chat about that game at Tannadice. Aberdeen in control at half-time. Let's get to the game at Easter Road before we return to Celtic Park. Michael Stewart alongside me in the studio. Cammy Bell is at the game for us. Hibs against Rangers. Michael, we'll come to you. You've got, you know, the pictures coming into the studio here. You've watched several replays. We've watched another one there at the moment. Lots of Rangers fans getting in touch. We've had guidance from VAR HQ. There is no conclusive proof that the ball was over the line when Rangers thought they had another goal. And of course what happens is Hibs go up the field and score. Your thoughts on what you've seen?
I think it's a goal. I've got a certain degree of sympathy with the officials in regards to because obviously Hibs go right up the other end and score straight away, it just magnifies the decision. I think when you watch it in real time, it's difficult. Anybody that tells you they know what happened in real time is, I don't think, being entirely truthful. But when you watch the replays, I mean,
it looks so, but what they're saying is there is no conclusive proof, Michael. That's what they're saying.
Well, you know, conclusive. I'm not sure about that. I mean,
here it comes again.
What I'm looking at looks fairly conclusive to me. Do you know? Look. What is the goal line technology that we've got? Is it purely that we're trying to get an angle, or is there actual what is the goal line technology? I mean,
we don't have goal line technology. So they're looking at the ball across the line there. That's what they're doing. We saw that Easter Road, of course, didn't we, earlier in the season with
then
Celtic.
Surely we have, you know, a camera which is close enough to the goal line. You could literally go round in circles on this one. The angles I've looked at, for that not to be over the line, I'd be flabbergasted if the ball is not over the line.
Yeah, but the thing is, the word's conclusive, isn't it, Cammy? That's the key thing, and that's what we're hearing from VAR HQ.
Yeah, 100%. And at the time, listen, I'm obviously sitting high up in the stand, and it's difficult to tell from here. I've seen a couple of still pictures that have been sent in to me. Listen, the key factor is they have to be 100% sure that ball's over the line to give this goal. That's the ball. The referee didn't give it on the pitch. The linesman didn't give it. So VAR have to look at that, and they have to be 100% sure the ball's over the line. And certainly from the stills that I've seen, it looks as if it's over the line. But again, are you 100% sure? I wasn't 100% sure, certainly from the stills. I've only seen a few of them.
Do you know, this is the key thing, and I said it at the start, I've got an element of sympathy with the officials here. it could be very easy for us to, to absolutely batter the officials, but you watch it in real time, you can't tell. So then it's got to be looking at the replays. The replays, I would say, I am pretty strongly confident that it's over the line, but that's not strong enough. You need to be 100%, as Cammy said there. So as difficult as it is for, I would imagine, some people to take, I think it's probably the right decision in the end.
Well, there's certainly a red-hot debate going on in social media, I can tell you that. You can watch it for yourselves on Sports Scene this evening, 7:15. The teams are just coming back out, Steve McGinn at Celtic Park. I mean, as things stand, we could have a very rare situation in the final whistle where all the fans inside the stadium there, including the 500 St Mirren fans, are happy. Of course, they're relying on things remaining the same at Tannadice this afternoon, but a terrific atmosphere there, a lovely day, and you've got to give a lot of credit to St Mirren for that first-half performance.
Yeah, and it's the performance the St Mirren fans we come to expect from them. They're very competitive. They're here playing two strikers and taking the game to Celtic when they can. What I probably reflecting on at half-time is Kerridean's question to Brendan at the top of the show, is their cup final places up for grabs? Watching this first half, if you're Luke McCowan or James Forrest, he's sitting there thinking, there's a chance for me here to come on, really grab this game by the scruff of the neck and put myself in the starting lineup for Aberdeen next week.
Well, the second half is about to get underway. Let's get back to Steve McGinn and Liam McLeod.
Celtic have won the last 8 meetings between these two, dating back to a 2-2 draw here in May 23 at the end of the season. St Mirren were denied victory by a late Callum McGregor goal. And saw them both pick up a point apiece. Celtic kick off the second half, shooting from right to left, green and white hoop shirts, white shorts and socks. St Mirren in their aqua blue change kit with black and white flashes, and Saints going left to right in the second half. The final 45 minutes of the season for these two, and St Mirren shooting towards the Lisbon line stand. Their supporters are up that end of the stadium, so they'll be hoping that they will be celebrating back-to-back European qualifications for the first time in the club's history later on this afternoon. Anyway, much to happen here and at Tannadice before that'll take place, potentially. No changes for either team at the start of the second half. So Schmeichel in goal for Celtic, Johnston, Carter Vickers, Scales, Taylor, Engels, McGregor, Bernardo, Kuhn, Maida, Ida. St Mirren with Hemming in goal, Fraser, Gogic, Richard Taylor, Alabayusu, Phillips, Boyd, Muntz, O'Hara and John, and Ayunga and Mandron. And it's Celtic in possession here with Carter Vickers out to the right-hand side for Johnston, infield to McGregor, and he leaves it for Arne Engels. Celtic effectively at full strength today, apart from Rio Hatate, as it comes to Maida on the left-hand side of the St Mirren box. Uses Bernardo at the byline, pulls it across, headed away by Gogic. And now it's with Greg Taylor. If St Mirren can avoid defeat here, regardless of what happens in Dundee, they'll have put together one of the best post-split top 6 mini campaigns of anyone outside of Celtic and Rangers, I would have thought. Right up there. They'll be unbeaten post-split if they avoid defeat today. Draws with the other two in the top 3 and wins over Aberdeen and Dundee United along the way. It's Celtic on the ball on the right-hand side with Kuhn on the touchline, infield to McGregor. Little ball forward and the dummy from Engels, but Ida can't get onto it. It's passed back to his keeper by John, and Hemming clears with a left foot and out for a throw-in on the far side. And again, it's like at the end of a half. These opening exchanges at the start of a first half or second half are so important, particularly perhaps for the visiting side when you come here. There's an offside flag on the far side against Celtic.
And much more important from a St Mirren point of view, you know the message from Brendan Rodgers, players, move the ball quicker, move it side to side, keep St Mirren moving. But if they can just nail this first 10-15 minutes and keep getting contact, don't let Celtic get into a flow, then you just never know.
Well, wins here are like hen's teeth for St Mirren. They've only won once in 35 years. That was under Jim Goodwin in January 21. And Celtic were in free fall that season. The only campaign out of the last 14 that they've not been champions. However, it was a brilliant win for Saints. Dennis and Dermis scored the goals. And you had to go back to a very famous 3-0 win here right at the start of the 1990s. Before that, Torferson, Sean, Lambert. Here's Ida for Celtic, threading it through towards Kuhn. Richard Taylor can't get there. Kuhn has it, right-hand side of the byline. He's jinking back on his left side. Rolls it to Bernardo, taking their time over the Celtic, and Bernardo gets it stuck under his feet, and St Mirren clear. I mean, that looked all the way 1-0 Celtic. Well, they overcooked it, and St Mirren clear it, and they've got away with one, though you do need to get away with things like that if you're going to get anything here. Stays Celtic 0, St Mirren 0. Here they come again. And it is McGregor squaring it there to Greg Taylor, to Maida at the edge of the St Mirren box on the left-hand side of it, to Engels, back to Maida. Greg Taylor chasing, runs out of pitch though, and it goes behind for the goal kick. But you're just waiting on Kuhn pulling the trigger.
I think it's open for debate there, whether it's poor play from Celtic or unbelievable recovery from St Mirren, that a shot wasn't even faced there in that scenario. I felt there was a lack of confidence in the Celtic attack. I thought Adamida could have released the pass quicker. I thought Nicholas Kuhn, that was vintage Kuhn from the first half of the season, too quick for Taylor, cutting his left. You're just, as you say, you're just waiting for him to get the shot away. He passes it on to Bernardo, who gets it stuck in his feet. So yeah, I mean, Celtic probably should be getting a shot away, but brilliant recovery runs from St Mirren.
We'll keep you up to date with what's happening at Easter Road in Tannadice along the way. Cammy Bell is at Easter Road watching Hibs Rangers. Willie Miller's at Tannadice for Dundee United Aberdeen. And St Mirren pick up a free kick wide on the left-hand side in the Celtic half, having survived that little mini onslaught at the start of the second period. And they've got it just about through the first 5 minutes of it. And the free kick will be taken by Declan John, who scored against Celtic earlier this season. From a free kick, that 5-2 Celtic win in Paisley. St Mirren twice coming from behind. It's not often Celtic have surrendered a lead. They did it twice that evening in Renfrewshire. John takes the free kick, left-footed, bends it into the Celtic box. Gogic wasn't far away, it breaks to Ayunga. Goal! Goal St Mirren! Jonah Ayunga fires home. Past Schmeichel into the bottom right. St Mirren are here to spoil a party, and Jonah Ayunga might just have put them a little bit closer to back-to-back European qualifications, because they have a sensational lead on Trophy Day at Celtic Park. Celtic 0, St Mirren 1.
You know, he spoke about St Mirren, they'll not take any opportunity to put it into Celtic's box. They know that's a big strength of theirs. They'll win contacts, second contacts, and you speak about Toyisi Olasanya leaving and Ayunga and Mandron stepping up. Jonah Ayunga, he's just got so much better. He gets the ball stuck in his foot, but he takes an extra touch and a snapshot away with his left foot, and it's too quick for Kasper Schmeichel to react.
Fabulous finish, Michael Stewart, there by Jonah Ayunga. And St Mirren have a lead that Stephen Robinson, given the way they've defended, given they have been a threat at times, he'll think his team deserves this.
Aye, it's the perfect St Mirren away performance, really. Very difficult to break down, not getting stretched too much, and then, you know, a set piece, they've piled on the pressure and they've got themselves in front. No real celebrations there from Stephen Robinson. You're talking before about his steps that he gets in and his fitness regime. He's keeping it very calm, getting himself 1-0 up at Celtic Park, that's for sure. But I can imagine inside he'll be doing all sorts of somersaults with his side getting one up and getting himself into a very commanding position now for that European spot.
No, absolutely. But I guess he would have rather that goal went in when it was 0-0 with 89 minutes on the clock rather than 52, as it is still a lot to do. And
it's getting a bit greedy, Liam, now.
Yeah, well,
I'm pretty sure he'll take it.
Sometimes you can be, when you do that, you can poke the bear, and they'll hope that that's not the case. But Celtic now have work to do. They are behind, and a reminder, only Rangers and Bayern Munich have won here this season as visiting teams. Brendan Rodgers has only ever lost 3 league matches at home as Celtic manager across his 2 spells. Aberdeen at the end of the season in 2018, Hearts in December 2023, and Rangers here more recently than that. That Egeman winner. Anyway, bad news, or worse news for Dundee United with that goal going in. Celtic going to respond with a couple of changes in a moment. Here's Greg Taylor for the champions, rolls it out wide left of the St Mirren box there for Maida, who knocks it back to Greg Taylor, and now Engels level with the penalty spot onto his right side, plays it to Johnston, side steps away from O'Hara and from Boyd Muntz. Now it's with Engels, left hand side of the box for Greg Taylor. Turns it to Bernardo. Out to Kuhn on that right-hand side, looking to return it to Bernardo, but Richard Taylor will see it behind. In fact, might well have been fouled, and it's just going to go for a goal kick anyway. And Celtic are going to respond to going behind there, and it's going to be 3 changes. James Forrest, what a special afternoon it is for him, and what is a special career at Celtic. He will confirm he's the most decorated player in Celtic history when he lifts the trophy later. Indeed, I think he's going to be bringing the trophy out, and he's going to replace Kuhn. Ida's going to come off. Yang will come on for him, and also coming on is Luke McCowan. So Brendan Rodgers reacting immediately, pretty much, Stephen McGinn, to going behind there. And it's a little warning for those coming off that they're going to have to do plenty more work to get into that Scottish Cup final team next week.
Well, you were thinking at half-time that there's definitely a place up for grabs. I mean, Rio Hatate might be a huge miss for Celtic. Bernardo McCowan can just be a form thing, and the way James Forrest played on Wednesday night, if he goes and replicates this for the last half an hour, you can hear how popular he is amongst the Celtic support, then yeah, you wouldn't be surprised to see him start the final.
Yeah, and they'll be desperate for him to get that goal. He's only got today and the final next week to find it, and he'll have scored in 16 successive seasons in the Celtic starting 11 as they look to come forward here, having just made those changes. Greg Taylor to Callum McGregor, sweeps it to Johnston, out to the right-hand side for Forrest, outside of the boot ball for McCowan. His fellow sub, there's a slip from Johnston. It's going to go out for a throw into St Mirren over on the far side, deep inside their own half. Celtic 0, St Mirren 1 here, almost on 55. Willie Miller's at Tannadice, watching Dundee United against Aberdeen, and that St Mirren goal was as bad news as Jeppe Okel's opener for Aberdeen in the first half for the home team there, Willie.
Certainly was, Liam, and they've started the second half much brighter though, United on the front foot, and they had a big opportunity cross from the left hand side, and Trapanovsky header should have done much better. He heads it down into the ground round about the 6-yard box, and it goes over the top of the bar, and then Nisbet has a great opportunity. Clarkson, wonderful play, sets him in, 18 yards out, balloons it over the bar. Still 1-0 for the visitors.
Yeah, and St Mirren with the goal have given themselves insurance in the game, but they've also given themselves a bit of a buffer as well, because they just need to better the Dundee United result. So even if United equalise, with St Mirren hang on to win here, that's good enough for 5th as well. There's been another goal at Easter Road, Cammy Bell.
Yeah, and it's for the visitors. It's 2-1 to Rangers. It was a simple corner kick. Tavernier in swinger. Nico Raskin gets the run on the defender, flicks it in at the near post, makes it 2-1. And Rangers have started this second half really well. They've been on the front foot. Dessers had a shot wide, which he was just offside, and then they had another opportunity where Czerny got his shot blocked, which led to that corner. So yeah, a great start for them.
Thanks, Cammy. Sorry, you know what Celtic are like. They're getting things underway so quickly, and it's James Forrest on the right. Chip ball into the box. Ayunga slashes at it, headed away by Richard Taylor. O'Hara will just dump it away up into the air, really outside of the right boot, and they've got it clear. Callum McGregor will pick up. Be interesting to see what happens between now and full time here, obviously, but Celtic will come forward. I think this is the next 10-15 minutes are crucial to St Mirren's prospects. Forrest's low ball into the St Mirren box, back to Johnston, and now McGregor to Greg Taylor in the central position, rolls it with the left foot low there to McGregor, wide right of the box for Forrest. Forrest inside the area now, goes to the byline, chips it towards the back post. Nobody in green and white there though, although it is picked up by a Celtic player left hand side of the area, and Greg Taylor into the feet of Yang, who's his back to goal, passes it back to Greg Taylor, to McCowan, who chips it in towards the back post, but it just gets away from Forrest and behind for the goal kick, and it will remain Celtic 0, St Mirren 1. And I mean, it's just dreamland for St Mirren right now, and they are perhaps don't want to tempt fate by thinking about getting the passports out and getting the bags packed for another European trip coming up and a place in the second qualifying round of the Conference League, but they've got to be dreaming of that right now, Stephen, when they look at the scoreboard here.
I'm not even entertaining that thought. What I would say is the St Mirren Celtic triple subs had the desired effect. I mean, the tempo of the game has gone up. St Mirren already with more frantic defending and big slides to cut it out. So as you say, I do think it's a really important, if they can get to 75, I mean, with Trophy Day and Celtic not having to win, it doesn't impact anything other than it'd be nice to win on Trophy Day. The need for St Mirren is must. So get to 75 without any more mistakes, and you never know, they could pull it off.
Yeah, and if they do qualify for Europe again, they'll hope that's a bit easier on the wallet, given they went to two of the most expensive countries in Europe, in Iceland and Norway, during their excursion last summer. It is Celtic in possession with Carter Vickers, who rolls it out to the right there, Johnston, and then back to the America international. And infield it comes to Greg Taylor in the centre circle, rolls it to the left for Scales. St Mirren with a 1-0 lead here. It's Yang attacking the left-hand side of the Saints box in Saliba Yusu. It's a good low ball across, which is blocked on the 6-yard line and cleared outside the area. Kept alive though. Engels goes down inside the box. Celtic play on. It's Johnston out to the right-hand side. McCowan back to McGregor. Square ball to Taylor. Greg Taylor to Yang. Lovely little football by Celtic, but it breaks down again round about the penalty spot, and Keelan Boyd-Muntz gets it away, and anywhere will do for St Mirren right now. Celtic 0, St Mirren 1. There's been another goal at Tannadice. Aberdeen, last we heard, were 1-0 up. Willie Miller.
Yes, equaliser, Liam. It's simple, straightforward, poor defending, but really well executed for the young centre-back, Cleel Harding. The corner comes in from the right-hand side. He simply just jumps above everybody else. He is tall, but he's unmarked, and he guides it past Mitov into the back of the net. They have started brightly. They certainly deserve it. They've put a lot of pressure on Aberdeen. They've now got the equaliser.
Aberdeen can't defend. It's as simple as that, and that's going to be a real concern for them going to the National Stadium next week. St Mirren have shown you how to defend against Celtic today, and Aberdeen conceding directly from a corner by the sounds of things. Conceded at Tannadice earlier in the season, direct from a long throw as well. But Dundee United back on level terms. St Mirren still 5th as it stands though, because they are beating Celtic here. If Celtic were to equalise, that changes again, and it would be United. As it stands, Aberdeen still 4th. Yang back to the edge of the box for Callum McGregor, whose shot is blocked, and O'Hara clears. It's all very last ditch at the moment for St Mirren, but that'll help their cause as Engels fouls Phillips to the edge of the St Mirren box. And it's Celtic 0, St Mirren 1, and we are on the hour mark here in Glasgow's East End.
It was a big free kick from Killian Phillips to win. St Mirren, they couldn't find Mandron Ayunga. It was wave after wave. Celtic for the first time in the game recycling attacks. Yang's looked really lively down this left-hand side. Killian Phillips is using his experience, still a young man, but using his experience in there just to win a foul and give his side the chance to get up the park.
It's so tight right now because Carter Vickers is trying to see it back to Schmeichel under pressure from Ayunga, and the referee's blown his whistle. I think he wants to speak to, in fact, he's going to stop the play. The Scales is down with a head knock, I think. But when you look at 4th down to 6th, as it stands now, Aberdeen can't finish lower than 5th, but they, as it stands, on 54, in 4th. St Mirren in 5th on 52, and Dundee United in 6th on 51. However, a Celtic goal changes things. It swings back Dundee United's way. And I believe it's Declan Gallagher rather than Cleel Harding who's got that Dundee United equaliser, so he'll have enjoyed that against his old club. Former St Mirren defender as well. So 1-1 at Tannadice. Another Dundee United goal, and they would be back above St Mirren. So there's still plenty going on here as we head towards the... Well, we're in the final half hour of the 90 here of the season. Scales is back on his feet, but he's had to come off the pitch before being allowed back on. So as things stand, Celtic 0, St Mirren 1, Dundee United 1, Aberdeen 1, and Hibs 1, Rangers 2. Raskin putting Rangers back in front. Greg Kiltie and Roland Edowu are coming on for St Mirren, their first changes. And off comes Keelan Boyd-Muntz, whose St Mirren career is over now. This was to be his last appearance. Been able to coax him into staying, and the Saints goal scorer, I think Ayunga's going to come off as well. Edowu replaces him. So Stephen Robinson, he's seen since they've scored, Celtic have upped the ante. They've made the changes. It seems to have had an effect. So he's reacting to that, and it's absolutely his right to do so.
Yeah, just having a look. Mark O'Hara's dropping into the defensive area that Keelan Boyd-Muntz is going in, Greg Hill taking in. It looks like it's a 5-4-1. I wasn't sure if Edowu would go up beside Mandron, but Stephen Robinson's declaring he's 1-0 and more of a defensive type substitution.
Your Scales for Celtic into the St Mirren half, rolls it to the left for Taylor, and then out to Yang wide on the left hand side. attacking Alabayusu. Low ball in field for Engels, but it's defended well by Marcus Fraser in the slide. St Mirren get it clear. Phillips with a header across the halfway line into the Celtic half, where Carter Vickers will get onto it, and he'll knock it back to Schmeichel. Schmeichel then rolls it to Forrest on the, or Johnston on the right. I say Forrest because I'm looking at a big tifo of James Forrest over there, which will be making its way up the stand at full time, I would have thought. Now it's with Carter Vickers, and then into the centre circle for Greg Taylor. To his left it's Scales. Scales then out to Yang on this near side. Yang now with the outside of the boot finds McCowan. Back to Yang, 2 goal scorers at Pittodrie during the week. Here's McGregor to Johnston. Forrest available wide on the right hand side. Forrest looking to take on Declan John. Again, he gets it to the byline. It's a good ball. It's headed over the bar, with the goal gaping in front of him by the man of the season, Daisen Maeda. He heads it over and he is furious with himself. A penalty at Tannadice, Willie Miller.
It is, yes, for the home side for Dundee United. It's Ryan Strain that breaks into the box, and there looks as though there's contact. It's being checked, obviously. It's taken a little bit of time to check it. I didn't have a great view of it. I thought he went down early, but you know, contact has been confirmed. The penalty has been given, and Glenn Middleton will be given the opportunity to take it from the spot. Well, there's a bit of conjecture going on out there who's actually going to take it, but it's definitely been given as a penalty for Dundee United.
Yeah, we'll keep Willie's mic faded up just now, and we'll get back to him just when that penalty is going to be taken. Celtic have it with Scales. It's rolled out to Yang on the left here. United, having trailed, could be about to score twice in the space of a few minutes to go ahead against Aberdeen, and that's a huge blow for St Mirren. In it goes, Willie Miller.
Sam Dalby it is that takes it. He wins the battle with Glenn Middleton. Left foot, puts Meat off the wrong way, puts it into the back of the net. They've came back, and Dalby is the man that's struck that penalty sweetly. 2-1 United.
Well, that is a scoreline that moves just a couple of goals in a few minutes. Has moved Dundee United from 6th up to 4th. Aberdeen would move 5th, and St Mirren would miss out altogether, despite the fact they lead the champions here in Glasgow. Here's James Forrest, ball across, cut out, breaks to Engels. His efforts blocked on the 6-yard line, and St Mirren get it clear out for a Celtic throw-in on the far side. But my goodness, this is hard work right now for these St Mirren players. Celtic putting them through the ringer, but it stays Celtic 0, St Mirren 1 on 66 minutes.
Yeah, they're having to work so hard. Yang and Forrest have been excellent since they came on. James Forrest is looking so fit, so fast. I mean, he looks to me a real live option to start the cup final the way he's playing at the minute.
You could see with Nicholas Kuhn going off, Liam, that he wasn't happy, and I think there's obvious reason why, because as Stephen's just saying there, James Forrest has come on and he's turned the game. You know, really, the pressure, because ultimately when you're playing against, you know, this St Mirren side, you have got to get in behind them. And as much as Kuhn, you know, has got that little bit of pace, he invariably wants to cut inside, and it plays in front of St Mirren. James Forrest hitting the byline just changes things big time.
Stoppage in play here, Michael. You're watching events at Tannadice, where Dundee United, who were 1-0 down at half-time, have scored 2 goals, I think, in the space of 5 or 6 minutes. And once again, Aberdeen folding when they concede. What kind of how do you manage this now from an Aberdeen point of view? Because Dundee United have been the better side since the break.
Aye, they're shooting down the hill as well. They just had another one there. Sam Dalby was sliding in. Louis Malt, who had a strike, it's gone behind for a corner kick. The pressure is mounting. And there's no easy solution for Aberdeen other than just getting back to basics, defend properly, and then, you know, try to find, you know, a way back into the game. But certainly at the moment, Dundee United, their tails are up and they're obviously flying. They're in 4th position. Quite incredible. And
they've been struggling as well recently, but Aberdeen seem to be the team to help out when a team's in bad form. And Dundee United, as it stands, would finish 4th in their first season back at the top table under Jim Goodwin.
And that changes everything. You know, I was just saying before at half-time, you know, Jim Goodwin talking about, you know, the positive season. If you miss out in Europe, not so. Now, that's what one result can do.
Yeah.
You finish 4th, that leads you into Europe, gives you away for the summer, and a great deal of positivity surrounding Tannadice.
Game on here again at Celtic Park. Forrest along the 18-yard line, finds McCowan. Now it's Greg Taylor, puts it across. It's blocked well by Fraser. They'll break back to Greg Taylor here. Blow for St Mirren while Michael was talking there. Declan John has had to come off injured. He's been replaced by Scott Tanser as they look to hold on to the lead here at Celtic Park. It's a lead though for them as it stands. Isn't going to move them any higher up the league on the final day. Johnston in the centre circle, side footed to the left. It's Greg Taylor, across it comes, away by Gogic on the 18-yard line. O'Hara takes it down. He's managed to slip it out to that left-hand side for Kilty. He's not long on himself, and he's been fouled by Johnston. Free kick to Saints over on the far side. That will just relieve some of the pressure that they've been coming under. So it's Celtic 0, St Mirren 1, Dundee United 2, Aberdeen 1, and Hibs 1, Rangers 2, as the top 6 finishes up for the campaign. To come tomorrow here on Sportsound and BBC Radio Scotland, St Johnstone Dundee, Ross County Motherwell, Kilmarnock Hearts, Saints already down, Dundee and Ross County trying to avoid a playoff, and that will play out here tomorrow on BBC Radio Scotland. It's a long ball for St Mirren, Hemming with it from the left-hand side of his own half there, looking for man drawn, but it bounces away from him and behind for the goal kick. Celtic are going to make another change with Johnny Kenny coming on. And now it's Johnston in possession. Next break in play, another change coming for Celtic. Johnny Kenny got his first goal for the club the other night in Aberdeen. As Scales goes across the halfway line and rolls it side foot out to Yang, wide in the left. He can attack Alabayusu. Left-hand side of the box, but level with the 6-yard lines. Now back with Greg Taylor. Square ball for McGregor. Now he finds Johnston out to the right for Forrest. It's defended well there by St Mirren through Tanser, but it breaks back Forrest's way. The right angle of the box, gets his right foot crossing. Yang tried to get there and doesn't get anything on it. And St Mirren survive. Another ball into their box there. It stays Celtic 0, St Mirren 1.
They've got a James Forrest problem, St Mirren. He's causing all sorts of problems down the right side, and his balls into the box are so dangerous, and looking like Johnny Kenny coming off. I don't imagine it'll be Dyson Maida. There'll be 2 strikers in there. They have to try and stop the crosses coming in.
Celtic on the right, it's Forrest. Infield there to McCowan, comes back to Johnston, and now it's Carter Vickers. Another goal's gone in Edinburgh. Cammy Bell.
Yeah, it's equaliser for Hibs. Again, Hibs have come back into this second half. They've been under pressure for periods, but it's that man Nicky Cadden who's been brilliant this season. Whips a deep cross into the back post, and there's that man Martin Boyle to fire it home. Brilliant goal for Hibs. Back on level terms, it's Hibs 2, Rangers 2.
Well, they seem to enjoy playing each other on the final day of the season. Shared 10 goals back in 2018. That was the same day Aberdeen last beat Celtic, and that was that game at the end of that season. So they finished second that campaign. Maida coming off, giving the rest of the game off ahead of that cup final, but Stephen, he should be going off having notched his 34th goal of the season, should he not?
Yeah, it was a sitter by standards this season, but I think it tells you the result isn't the be-all and end-all for Celtic today. The main focus is next week, and 70 minutes under the belt for Dyson Maida after missing the game the other night.
Corner Celtic, outswinger from Engels, wide in the right as they attack the goal to the left, and it comes to diving header away. It breaks to McCowan at the edge of the box, shuffles on to the right and shoots high over the bar. And it will stay Celtic 0, St Mirren 1. Saints have got 18 minutes plus stoppage time to survive. And I mentioned earlier, they've only won once here in 35 years. So it would be some achievement, even, Michael, if they don't qualify for Europe this afternoon, to go unbeaten after the split and to come here and win. They've still got a good chunk of the game to go, but still it would be a remarkable end to the season. Perhaps just that start to the season domestically for them will come back to haunt them when it comes to Europe.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's no question post-split fixtures results, if it stays like this, are absolutely, outstanding. 3 wins, 2 draws, undefeated. I don't think you can say anything else other than Stephen Robson's side have been motoring along and finishing very strongly. Disappointing if they do ultimately miss out on Europe, but Stephen Robinson and his St Mirren side can certainly go away into the summer on on a high note if they see this through.
Yeah, they won just 3 of their first 15 games in all competition this season. Went out of Europe, out of the League Cup. As they hang on here, Celtic have it. It's Forrest this time on the left, rolls it to Greg Taylor at the edge of the St Mirren box. Left-hand side, Engels looking to pop it through to Forrest. It's gone right through to Gogic though, and Phillips clears into the Celtic half, and Scales is underneath it. He takes it up towards the halfway line and moves it left to right of the centre circle for Carter Vickers, and then out to Johnston wide on the right. And the wingers have switched for Celtic. Yang's gone to the right, Forrest to the left. It's now with McCowan, and then with McGregor. Square ball for Greg Taylor. Out wide left for Forrest. Taking on Alabiusu. It's a low ball into the box, which is dumped away from round about the penalty spot by Kiltie. Now it's with Carter Vickers, who pushes it forward to McGregor. Then out to Johnston on the right, and then onto the touchline for Yang. Moves in field, gets the cross in, but it's too close to Hemming, who holds on. And perhaps it's just St Mirren's day as far as a potential victory here is concerned. Almost in 75, Celtic 0, St Mirren 1. But the frustration might come later, and the fact that Aberdeen, who led and sending St Mirren to Europe as it stands, now trail Dundee United. Declan Gallagher and Sam Dolby's penalty cancelling out Jeppe Okkel's opener, 2-2 at Easter Road. Here's Yang driving forward for Celtic into a central position. He's brought crashing to the ground by O'Hara, who claims he got the ball. Referee Dickinson says you didn't and books him for his troubles. Celtic have a free kick in a central position midway inside the St Mirren half as they continue, Stephen McGinn, to look for this equaliser.
Yeah, it was good play from Yang. He got the other side of Killian Phillips, who on a yellow card couldn't touch him, so Mark O'Hara complaining that he got a touch in the ball, but I think it was a clear foul, and happy enough, I think, St Mirren to just go and defend the set piece.
A couple of changes for St Mirren coming. James Scott, Tosheen Smith both waiting to come on. Callum McGregor rolls it low out to the left. It's Forrest, level with the 6-yard line, now to the byline, pulls it back to Greg Taylor, and he goes back to McGregor, to Scales. Scales then rolls it to the right of the circle there for Carter Vickers, and they've moved it out to the right flank with Johnston. Johnston with the outside of the boot to McCowan, back to Johnston, back to McCowan. Yang on the touchline, but McCowan turns it infield instead to Scales. Scales finds Taylor, and then to Forrest. It's bobbled away from James Forrest, and St Mirren have it back here with Fraser. Plays it off Greg Taylor, and it goes out for a Celtic throw-in off Fraser last, says the assistant on the near side. They're taking it quickly. Fraser wrestles Taylor to the ground. The ref, I think, is happy with the challenge, though. Maybe even Mark O'Hara was looking at the referee in anticipation of a Celtic free kick there, but it didn't come. A long clearance from Hemming. It's off a Celtic head. Now it's with McCowan. He finds Yang. Now it's Engels. Too much on it for Forrest, though. And Hemming decides to keep it in play. Not sure if he thought it might have been going behind for the corner, but anyway, it's now Hemming deciding to pick it up. And we played 76.5. Celtic 0, St Mirren 1.
Really poor from Arnie Engels there. He had a few different options. He had runners in front of him. He had the chance to bring it down and drive at the St Mirren defence. He chose to try and play in James Forrest, but always going to be too heavy and run through to Zach Hemmings. What St Mirren have done at all times in the game, and it takes such hard work and togetherness and organisation, is what Michael's talking about. Steve Clark said about coming to Celtic Park. You have to make Celtic think all the time. They've never given them that chance where they could just start to think of their phases and attacking third without having pressure applied.
Here comes Celtic, and Johnston, and his cross is overhit. He was on the slide right hand side of the box when he did so, and it was behind for the goal kick to St Mirren, who have sat their 2 subs down for now, Scott and Smith. So that's stoppage in play, which St Mirren are grateful for. The Celtic fans on Zach Hemming's case. I feel he's taking too long over this goal kick, and he will take this, launch it forward with the right foot into the Celtic half. It drops. Carter Vickers is underneath it, heads it away under pressure from Idowu, breaks to Mandron. Idowu can get sight of the ball, and Celtic have it back now. It's with Luke McCowan. driving forward out to the right hand side for Johnny Kenny, looking to get goal side at Gogic. Easier said than done, and Gogic does brilliantly to get between the man and the ball and draw the foul, win his team the free kick, and relieves more pressure there, and it will stay Celtic 0, St Mirren 1 with 12 of the 90 to play. Celtic have scored in every single home game this season in all competition. If St Mirren can hold out for 12 minutes plus stoppage time, they've got a victory, and they'll become the first team on the last day of the league season to keep Celtic out inside their own stadium. Jeffrey Schlupp waiting to come on as well. How comfortable Stephen Robinson right now, Michael, do you think?
I wouldn't say he's comfortable, but certainly he's going to be delighted with the way things have panned out so far, but he'll...
Oh, he might like this even more, because Mandron's in left-hand side of the box. It bounces off Carter Vickers, but it's off the big St Mirren number 9 last, and it's a goal kick to Celtic. Michael?
Well, I was just going to say, but he'll be fully aware and mindful of the fact that he's playing against Celtic at Parkhead, and things can turn very quickly. So, yeah, he'll be happy, but certainly not comfortable.
Schlupp has replaced Engels, incidentally. I mean, as has been noted, Celtic have averaged 3 goals a league game this season. So no mean achievement to keep them out. I know St Johnstone managed it. Celtic were away from home a month ago, but to do it here is a very different kettle of fish. And St Mirren surviving so far. And you wouldn't say Zach Hemmings made save after save today. Not yet anyway. Still time. We know Celtic's penchant for late goals. It's been woven through their history. So many have come after the 15-minute or the 75-minute mark, 15 left this season, as was the case last term. And then given away by McCowan. He wanted too long on it. Richard Taylor driving forward, and he's got support ahead of him. Idowu has run ahead. He can still pass it to him. Still he goes, the big centre back. He's in the attacking third now. Looks up at the box, gets the cross in. It comes off Mandron's head, and he can only glance it well wide of target, and it will stay 1-0 St Mirren. We're in the final 10 minutes. That's Mandron's last act. He's going to be replaced by James Scott, and Alex Iacovitti's going to come on. It was Oisin Smith, but he's changed the change, and it will be Iacovitti who's going to come on for St Mirren, and Alabayusu is the player to be replaced. Stephen McGinn. There's some cramp as well for Alabayusu.
He looks as if he's struggling with a bit of cramp. I think Marcus Fraser will come out to right back, with Iacovitti just going into centre half. James Scott will be like for like with Mandron. What I would say notably about the substitutions, Greg Taylor's going into an attacking midfield position for Celtic with Jeffrey Schlupp coming on, and probably a nod to maybe a lack of options in midfield with Rio Hatate's injury, but also the improvements in his game that Brendan Rodgers trusts him to get into that midfield area.
1-0 St Mirren at Celtic Park. It remains Dundee United 2, Aberdeen 1. Those two results, false positive here for Saints, would see them finish 6th. It would bump Aberdeen down to 5th, and you consider that they looked shoe-ins for 3rd at least back in the autumn. That's quite the drop, and how successful is the season going to be judged? We shall see when it comes to Aberdeen when they take Celtic on in the cup final next week. It's Greg Kiltie, left angle of the box, back to O'Hara, and back to Iacovitti. Long ball from him, it's a good one. It's found Tanzer at the byline, pulls it across. It might drop to Idowu. Hazi's on his right foot here. Schlupp gets in between the man and the ball. Idowu with a lovely turn, shoots straight at Schmeichel. Well, St Mirren attacking, looking for a second there, and it was looking for a moment like Roland Idowu would have the opportunity. He did eventually get his shot away there with the left foot. It's a comfortable save for Schmeichel, and they end up, and again it's good play by Saints. It stays 1-0 to them.
It's been a textbook performance at Celtic Park in terms of defending the right times, the hard work, but also not knocking back the opportunity counter-attack. You spoke about, you have to have Celtic thinking, the committed bodies forward, and I don't think Idowu realised how much time he had. He's completely sold Yang and Schlupp with the Cruyff turn.
Celtic with James Forrest wide on the right. He's gone back to the right-hand side, Yang to the left. Forrest at the angle of the box across the 18-yard line. He goes, he shoots, it's blocked by Gogic. Saints get it away. McGregor keeping it alive, out to Johnston on the far side. Infield to Taylor. Taylor then to the left angle of the box, it's Yang. Now Schlupp on the underlap in the box, pulls it across. Kenny tries to get onto it. Gogic meets it though. Gets it half away. Kenny keeps it alive. Finds Greg Taylor out wide left. It's with Yang. Level with the 6-yard line. Challenged well by Marcus Fraser, who's then fouled by Yang. It's a cheap one from the Celtic player. The Celtic fans aren't happy, but that looked like a foul from where we are. Unless they're having a go at Yang for making the challenge. Of course, it is Celtic 0, St Mirren 1. 83 on the clock. The Paisley side are getting ever closer.
Generous there from you, Liam, thinking that was a foul. It was Marcus Fraser had one like that just in front of Derek McInnes a couple of weeks ago that he was not best pleased about, but he's using his experience. He's used the contact from Yang, won his side a foul, much needed foul in an area, and Zach Hemmings will get it up to James Scott.
But still, Michael Stewart, things can turn on a sixpence, and a Celtic goal here of course would deny St Mirren a win. But if St Mirren can win this, and if Aberdeen find an equaliser at Tannadice, it all changes again. I'm not sure how likely that's looking, but still all to play for in the closing stages.
Absolutely, and it's what obviously brings the excitement of the end of the campaign when things are so tight and teams chasing for Europe. I'm just sitting here thinking, you know, from Aberdeen's perspective, you're posing the question about how does the season look and how's it looked upon. The game next week, that's what defines Aberdeen's season. If they finish 5th and they don't win the cup final, then yeah, there's question marks hanging over it. If they win the cup final, all of a sudden, like for Dundee United, they win this game, they finish 4th, it's positive. Aberdeen win that game next week, it can be nothing but joyous and, you know, celebrating a successful campaign.
It is Celtic on the ball. We'll get to Tannadice and an update from Willie Miller. Dundee United leading Aberdeen 2-1. As it stands there a bit behind us, I think, in that game. We are almost on 85 minutes. Celtic have it over on the right side with Forrest. Forrest's ball onto the chest of Kenny at the edge of the box, but it's cleared. St Mirren again defending superbly well this afternoon as Adowu picks up for St Mirren. Midway inside the Celtic half, as he takes it out to the far side and then rolls it back the way to Tanzer. A low ball forward there, just bounces back off the St Mirren player, and Celtic could be in here. Gogic is in trouble. Johnny Kenny's in behind, right hand side of the box. Shoots, saved well by Hemming. Kenny on the rebound, saved by Hemming again, and behind for the corner. It stays Celtic 0, St Mirren 1 on 85.5. Good goalkeeping.
Wow, the pace from Johnny Kenny. I mean, electric. He was so quick there. Alex Gogic can shift. He did brilliant. I don't know if Richard Taylor on the cover's done enough just to force Johnny Kenny wide enough that he can't come in the centre of goal, but brilliant play from the young Irishman.
Corner Celtic. As I said, we'll get to Tannadice in a moment. It's now with James Forrest, right hand side of the box. It's laid back there to McGregor at the edge of the area. It's a delicate chip ball in. Yang shoots, saved by Hemming. And a spectacular effort from Yang. He's about 4 yards from goal, and Hemming saves. Celtic hunting down this equaliser. They're trailing 1-0 on 86 minutes. And while Celtic keep the pressure on, we'll keep Willie waiting just a little moment longer. It's going to be a Luke McCowan corner from the main stand side, the Celtic left, as they attack the goal to the left here. McCowan into the box it comes. It breaks around about the penalty spot. Carter Vickers gets it back to McGregor. McGregor to the right angle of the area for Yang, taking on Phillips. Checks back the way, turns it to the right angle of the area again. It's McGregor. It's a delicate floated ball to the back post. It was Greg Taylor waiting and stooping, but it's going to break to Forrest. His effort's blocked. Still it's Forrest, digs it out, and then Richard Taylor heads it away. And that's going to go for another Celtic corner. And it's going to be taken here by James Forrest. Would any other team, I'd go to Willie for a quick update, but Celtic are always in a hurry, particularly now. It's Marcus Fraser is shown a yellow card by referee Dickinson. Here comes the corner to be taken by Luke McCowan. Forrest leaving it for his fellow sub. McCowan waits to take. St Mirren getting ever closer to a famous victory here. And it comes from McCowan. Scales attacks it, headed away by Gogic. And then it's at the edge of the box, and they're managing to come away with it with Adowu. Brilliant energy from Roland Adowu. McGregor trying to stick with him. Still goes Adowu. Down goes Adowu. No free kick, but he bounces back and he's on it again. Little chip ball in. Can't find Scott. Breaks out to Kiltie. That was magnificent from Adowu. Comes back to Scott Tanzer wide on the left-hand side. It's going from one end to the other all of a sudden here. Carter Vickers with the defending and out for a St Mirren throw-in over on the far side. Let's go to Tannadice. Last we heard, Dundee United 2, Aberdeen 1. United getting closer to 4th spot, which would be quite remarkable, Willie Miller.
Yeah, it's been a great fight back from them, an excellent second half. And this game's the same, Liam, it's going from one end to the other. Aberdeen throwing on, you know, the substitutes, Polvara, the Bag, Ambrose, Keskinen, they're all on there trying to turn this game round in their favour again. They're still on the back foot, and United still, you know, pummeling forward, and with every opportunity they're getting bodies forward as well, so they haven't given up of adding to this 2-1 scoreline. A good game of football here in the sunshine, with United looking as though they're going to slip into 4th.
Celtic supporters getting frustrated as McCowan had his pocket picked, but here comes James Forrest driving forward, rolls it to Jeffrey Sloop, and it's a brilliant block from Marcus Fraser, who slides in from nowhere just as Sloop was waiting to run away and celebrate the equaliser. Fraser with some incredible last-ditch defending, and it stays Celtic 0, St Mirren 1 as we tick into minute 90 here. Outstanding from Fraser, the former Celtic youngster. Celtic corner, Forrest takes into the box, is headed back over his own bar by O'Hara, and Celtic have another corner. Incredible drama there, Stephen McGinn.
Unbelievable. I can't tell you how good the defending is. They're up against it. James Forrest is driving at them, but they just try and force it wide. They force it wide to Slop, and then Marcus Fraser with an amazing block to keep it out.
In comes the corner from Forrest, knocked away at the near post off Greg Taylor. Now it's Forrest back, it comes to McCowan, his cross comes in, it scales at the right hand side of the 6-yard box. He can only lump it high and out over on this near reverse side for a St Mirren throw-in. Celtic 0, St Mirren 1. We're going to find out what the stoppage time is going to be shortly. It's looking like it's not going to be enough for Europe, which would have been magnificent for St Mirren. They've given it such a good go post-split, and it looks like they're just going to come out up short, although 5 minutes have been added on here. The Celtic look to try and ensure that they don't lose just a second home league game of the season, but it will still go down as a momentous result for Stephen Robinson and his players. Just had a little bit too much to do in the end up. He's shown some spirit in these recent matches. 2-0 down to Hibs during the week and getting back for a point as well. It's Forrest out to Johnston. We're in the first of the 5 minutes of stoppage time. Forrest to the edge of the box and the left foot over the bar. Well, on his debut against Motherwell as a teenager, James Forrest scored from just outside the box into that very goal frame. And he's going to only, as looks as though he's only going to have the Scottish Cup final left to try and find that much wanted goal. It's a goal kick to St Mirren, and they've got through the first of the 5 minutes of stoppages. They're getting very close, Michael Stewart.
Very, and you're talking before about how would Stephen Robinson be feeling. He's, I would imagine the closer it gets, the more anxious he's getting as well, because it's, you know, so close to such a, you know, brilliant victory for them. It's good attack and play from St Mirren at the moment, but they have to be mindful of this breakaway. Celtic are always dangerous.
An Aberdeen goal would change things for them, move them up to 5th. Doesn't sound like that's forthcoming though, as Celtic come forward. Sloop defended brilliantly again by Fraser, who's now got loads of space to run into. Across the halfway line he goes. He's got a runner and James Scott ahead of him, but then Scott changed his mind just as Fraser passed it, and Fraser furious down there. It's back at the feet of Schmeichel, and now it's with McGregor. St Mirren getting close. Torferson, Shaw and Lambert in 1990. Durmus, Dennis in 2021. Is it to be Ayunga in 2025? It is Sloop for Celtic, rolls it out wide left for Yang. Attacking the left angle of the box here. Rolls it along the 18-yard line, little flick by McCowan, goes straight to Richard Taylor, who blooters it away. And all the way through to Schmeichel. 2.5 minutes of the stoppages left. Scales floats it through, it's a great ball. Kenny's in here, tight angle now though, pulls it across. There's nobody in green and white hoops there, and St Mirren clear out for a throw-in over on the far side, and it will stay Celtic 0, St Mirren 1. Now it's Johnston to Forrest, away it goes by Jakiviti. Celtic throw. It doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things for Celtic if they lose this match, but they don't want the party being spoiled, and it is a little bit right now. Not great preparation for the cup final for them. Scales rolls it to his left for Sloop. Out to Yang, wide in the left, level with the penalty spot. Little bounce off, Fraser takes it to Killian Phillips, and now it's with Marcus Fraser. Oh, he's given it straight to Greg Taylor inside his own box. Now it's back to McCowan, to Johnston, takes a touch, rolls it to Forrest on the right, shoots and scores! It just had to happen! James Forrest, the most decorated player in Celtic history, is greeted by an almighty roar by 60,000 people who wanted that moment for him. 16 successive seasons he's scored in the Celtic first team. 26 major honours in the Celtic first team. And a quite incredible moment for him personally. It's going to deny St Mirren a famous victory. But for James Forrest, it's a moment he was desperate for. And on trophy day, it is classic vintage Celtic. It is a late goal that's going to prevent a defeat, and it is Celtic 1, St Mirren 1.
A fairy tale goal from a fairy tale career for Celtic's most decorated player. I mean, you say the result doesn't matter. Celtic fans have just celebrated this goal. It was a last minute winner to decide the league title. Such a popular goal. I mean, teammates running length of the park to celebrate with him. That's what they think of him. Gutted for Marcus Fraser in terms of his part in the goal. He's been St Mirren's Player of the Year, but take nothing away from James Forrest, and what a big moment that is for him in his illustrious career.
Yeah, it's a wonderful moment for him, and it comes just before he's going to be on trophy duties. After the match, he's bringing the trophy out, and Celtic want another one here. Forrest jinking infield, driving up towards the edge of the St Mirren box in a central position now. Rolls it to Sloop, rolls it to Yang, left-hand side of the box. Can they find a winner here, Celtic? St Mirren prod it away. McGregor to Forrest, he's on his right side, tried to twist and turn onto his left, but St Mirren have bodies in the way. Mark O'Hara goes down, his jersey tugged, and that will be a free kick to Saints. We're into a 6th minute of stoppage time, 5 are added. And that's it, it's all over. It ends all square. St Mirren denied victory. As it turns out, it looks as though Dundee United are going to beat Aberdeen anyway. So it won't matter too much to them, albeit they don't win here very often, and they were very close to registering just a second home league defeat for Celtic, thanks to that goal by Ayunga. But up stepped James Forrest, and I guess from a Celtic point of view, absolutely fitting that it was he who's ended up salvaging a point for the champions. It finished here, Celtic 1, St Mirren 1, and Michael Stewart watching this in the studio. I know, having watched James Forrest in the course of the last few games, just how desperate he was to get that goal, which means he's scored in 16 successive seasons for his club.
Well, I mean, no better way, let's be honest, other than perhaps if it was the winner, but it had such meaning in it that Celtic were staring at a defeat at home, and for them to be able to get the draw so late on, but for it to have come from James Forrest, it just really is a fairy tale story ending, and just a fitting story for somebody like James Forrest as he's about to go and lift the trophy as well. Such a meaningful goal. There's been so many half chances over the last few games where he's been playing a part, and without trying to put a dampener on it, the goalkeeper Zach Hemming is going to be questioned. He should do better, but it doesn't matter at the now. Celtic draw the game. James Forrest gets his goal, 16 campaigns in a row. Wonderful story.
Right, they're getting into the very latter stages at Tannadice. Willie Miller's watching Dundee United, Aberdeen United 2-1 up and closing in. Willie Miller on 4th place, having just bounced back up from the Championship last year.
Yeah, what a result that would be for Jim Goodwin, you know, turning a really good season into something extremely special for him. And they look as though they're going to do it, Liam. It's been turned round in the second half. They've been much better, much more energetic, far brighter, and obviously getting the 2 goals as well to turn that 1-goal deficit round. They're hanging on a little bit. Aberdeen have thrown on all their subs. They've got 6 players up there in the line trying to you know, cause the United defence problems, but as we're running down the clock, there was 7 minutes added on, so still a little bit of time, not too many minutes, but a little bit of time for Aberdeen to try and get the equaliser so that they can finish in 4th spot. But Dundee United in the second half performance are deserving their lead as it stands just now, as the time is running down. And it would be magnificent for Jim Goodwin, you know, coming up for the championship to finish 4th with the resources. And as I said earlier, you know, with limited resources on the bench, only 6 players on the bench as well. So a fabulous season if it stays like this for Dundee United. And their fans are celebrating just now, a sea of tangerine out there, hoping that their team can hang on as Aberdeen throw things forward. But it's not cultural. No, the final whistle hasn't gone. I thought the final whistle had gone, and we've got 1 minute to go here, Liam, as United look to capture that 4th spot, and quite a sensational season for them.
No, absolutely. It's all over at Easter Road. Cammy Bell watching Hibs and Rangers share the points.
Yeah, they certainly do, Liam. Listen, it was an entertaining game. 2 teams that were going at it, both wanted to win the game, didn't settle for a draw, but at the end that's why it ended up being 2 each here. Some quality on show as well, some really good goals. Again, a number of missed chances for Rangers. They rue them chances again. But yes, 2 teams that definitely wanted to come and win this game today, but unfortunately for both it ended up 2 each, and it was a point apiece.
2-2 at Easter Road. They're just about finished at Tannadice. Willie will alert us when the final whistle goes. St Mirren, though, as their players take the acclaim of their supporters, they've ended up being unbeaten post-split in the top 6, 3rd successive season.
Yeah, that's it finished, Liam.
All over at Tannadice. So Dundee United have beaten Aberdeen, coming from behind to do so from Jeppe Okkel's opener in the first half. With 2 goals in a 6-minute period early in the second. The first from Declan Gallagher, former Aberdeen defender, former Aberdeen manager Jim Goodwin has outfoxed Jamie Telleen. Sam Dalby's penalty, ensuring that Dundee United, right at the last, and it's been difficult for them in recent weeks, will finish 4th in their first season back in the top flight. And Aberdeen, who looked shoo-ins for at least 3rd in the autumn, they were 9 points clear of Rangers in 2nd at one point. 23 points clear of Hibs, who ended up finishing in 3rd spot. And yet, somehow, they finished 5th. And since their first defeat of the season to St Mirren in November, they're bottom of the league, behind even relegated St Johnstone on goal difference. It's been a dreadful period, and they go into the Scottish Cup final next week in poor condition as well. So what's going to happen here in Sports Sound now that the full-time whistles have gone in the 3 Premiership matches? We're going to stick with myself and Stephen here at Celtic Park. We've got the other guys as well. We'll get maybe a more considered look at the other 2 games that took place, but we're going to stick with this until Celtic have the trophy lifted and they've constructed the stage. They do these things in double quick time, and the stage is set. The plinth's off to the left where the winners' medals will be. The plinth that the trophy's going to be sitting atop as well. In fact, they're just getting that the 4 in a row fencing out as well, so it won't be too much longer that the Celtic supporters will have to wait, and they're getting very used to this, of course. To come on Sports Sound later, after Off the Ball at 3:30, we're going to have that later kick-off, the League One playoff final, second leg, Airdrieonians against Cove Rangers. Airdrie 2-1 up after the first leg. And also today, East Fife, Bonnyrigg rather, against East Kilbride in the Pyramid playoff. Bonnyrigg have a lot of work to do there. The Lowland League champions won the first leg 3-1. Bonnyrigg at home though in Midlothian, so they'll be looking to turn that one around. That's actually a 3 o'clock kickoff. Of course, I mentioned East Fife, they were promoted to League One last night, managing to get past Annan. Tomorrow, the bottom 6 plays out in the Premiership. St Johnstone, Dundee, Ross County, Motherwell, the 2 big games. St Johnstone already down, Dundee and Ross County trying to stay out of that playoff position. And it's Kilmarnock against Hearts, and that will be it for 2024-25 as far as the league seasons are concerned. We've then got the Premiership playoff final, first leg to come on Thursday, where Livingston will host Ross County or Dundee. The Scottish Cup final on Saturday as Aberdeen take on Celtic. Huge odds. I think Aberdeen out at something like 12-1 to win that in 90 minutes. The Women's Cup final, Glasgow City Rangers next Sunday, and then on the Monday night the domestic season is officially over as Ross County or Dundee host Livingston in that second leg of the Premiership playoff final. Willie Miller at Tannadice watching, I would imagine, scenes of wild celebration from Dundee United.
Yeah, Liam, there is scenes of celebration from the United fans. But there's a rather unsavoury incident. I think it's an Aberdeen player. They're certainly getting intense treatment down there. The physios are on, the medics are on as well. They're pointing as though it's some kind of a head knock. Nicky Devlin's hanging on. I just can't see who it is. There's just too many medics round about, whoever it is on the ground. But I think it's a player that's taken some kind of a head knock. I'm not sure if something was thrown on or what. I can't confirm that or otherwise, but I can confirm that there's some sort of an incident that has happened. I can see the security, the Aberdeen security chap down there as well. You're just hoping that everything's okay. It seems to be that whoever it is actually sitting up now. They've got I think they've got the stretcher on, but there is definitely something that's happened, and I'm sure we'll get the news of exactly what's happened a little bit later on. But an unsavoury incident in amongst the United fans that are on the pitch. There's more United fans on the pitch than off the pitch just now.
Well, the top 6 finishes like this. Celtic, after all 38 games played, 92 points. They managed to surpass Jock Stein's team's goals record as well. 2 shy of the team under Ange Postecoglou in 22-23, but still a fabulous campaign in front of goals. 112 they score in the Premiership, so 92 points for them. Rangers finish on 75 after the draw with Hibs, who finish on 58. Dundee United on 53, as are Aberdeen, but United's superior goal difference means they finish 4th. Aberdeen minus 13 goal difference finish 5th on 53, and St Mirren 6th on 50, denied a famous win here right at the end by James Forrest. So Celtic, we know, will go into the Champions League playoff round, so that will be in the mid to late part of August, and they'll be looking forward to the draw for that one. We'll keep an eye on that, of course, over the summer months as to who they could play. There's still a lot of permutations to go through with regards to that. The Rangers will begin in the second qualifying round for the Champions League, and that's in the middle of July. Big takeover happening there by the looks of things at Ibrox, and they've not got long to turn things round before they're back in action. Hibs, well, as it stands for Hibs, they'll go into the second qualifying round of the Europa League, and if they lose that, I go at the third qualifying round of the Conference League. However, if Celtic win the Scottish Cup next week, Hibs will go directly to the Europa League playoff and would be guaranteed at least Conference League phase football through until December, and about 6 or 7 million quid as well. And that will hurt Aberdeen. As I mentioned, they were 23 points clear in that position earlier in the season. Somehow contrived to throw it all away, and Hibs will be hoping now that Celtic lift the Scottish Cup, as many people will be expecting next week. So should Celtic win the Cup, it would be Hibs going into the Europa League playoff, and then the league phase of that tournament, or the Conference League. Dundee United will go into the second qualifying round, the Europa League, with a possible shot at the Conference League third qualifying round if they can't get through. Aberdeen if they don't win the Scottish Cup, we'll have to start in the second qualifying round in the Conference League. St Mirren, unfortunately for them, missed out on the opportunity to make it back-to-back European qualifications. Even if they'd won this game, it wouldn't have mattered because Dundee United coming from behind to beat Aberdeen. So we're getting very close to trophy time for Celtic. The St Mirren players have long since departed, and it sounds as though the captain and the manager will be making their way out onto the pitch here. It's a 10th league title for Callum McGregor and Brendan Rodgers, and he make their way out onto the pitch ahead of the rest of the players. And normally, as is customary here, the manager and the captain will address the supporters. I'm not sure how great the audio quality will be for you listening wherever you are. We will try and listen in to what first I think Callum McGregor has to say to the Celtic PA here, and that will be followed by Brendan Rodgers. The Celtic players, the rest of them, have gone off to the left to form a queue before they make their way up the couple of steps to pick up their winners' medals. And as I said, I think James Forrest is going to have the honour of taking the trophy out. Anyway, Callum McGregor, the Celtic captain.
Yeah, unbelievable. Such a privilege to play for this club and captain this club. So everyone enjoy the day. You deserve it so much.
I hope that's coming across okay. Callum McGregor in conversation.
How much credit do you give to this squad for putting us in this position?
Yeah, the lads have been unbelievable. Like you said, 1-0 to go. You see it again today, difficult game, difficult conditions. And we keep going to the end, and obviously the man's about to come out, but what a big moment again.
He is about to come out, Callum. I'm going to allow you to join your teammates. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, let's see it for our captain, Callum McGregor.
The Celtic players are picking up their winners' medals. Neil Doncaster, the SPFL CEO, Michael Nicholson, the Celtic CEO, Murdoch McLennan, the SPFL chairman, is there as well. And Brendan Rodgers is standing waiting as well, but I think, as you can hear, James Forrest is being given the big build-up.
Of 6 League Cups, 7 Scottish Cups, and an incredible 13 league titles. Ladies and gentlemen, make your voices heard for Celtic's most decorated player of all time. One man, one call, James Forrest!
Oh, what a moment that is for James Forrest. He's got the Premiership trophy in his hands. He's making his way along the halfway line. He's a pretty modest character, is James Forrest. This must be some experience for him. And 60,000 Celtic supporters in the Glasgow sunshine acclaim his incredible achievements, having usurped Bobby Lennox at the top of the tree at Celtic Football Club. He's getting his photograph taken with his manager. Callum McGregor, incidentally, can go level with Bobby Lennox next week by winning the Scottish Cup. As you heard, 13 league titles for James Forrest, 13 out of 14 that Celtic have won in this glittering period, and he's been there for all of them. And by the way, he could have had more had he not missed cup finals because of injury. I think we can have a little word with the man who wore Celtic's number 49 from his debut all the way through the 16 seasons. Brendan Rodgers as well there will pay tribute to James Forrest.
Well, I think today just rounded off what's been an amazing career for him here, and he still has more to give, but the ultimate professional, a real symbol for every young academy player coming through the system, that with hard work, dedication and quality you can succeed. And James, I know you're a team player, I know you're a humble guy. You got the goal, and what a goal it was. Can you sum up the emotions of not just those last minutes, but of all these years playing for Celtic Football Club?
No, it's been unbelievable. I think every moment that the fans give you and playing in front of the fans away from home, at home every week is amazing, and I'm just cherishing every game I played until I finish.
But I know that every single person in this stadium is proud of James Forrest, proud of his contribution
James Forrest,
to the club. Paradise, one more time, give it up for Rob.
who will be looking for honour number 27 next week. He made his debut for the club on the 1st of May 2010 against Motherwell. He scored in a 4-0 win, having replaced Aidan McGeady. And he's got his own special little memento there as he makes his way now to the platform to get his winner's medal along with his captain. And Callum McGregor and James Forrest, very much a bedrock of this Celtic squad. Rio Hatate standing there on crutches as well. He's going to miss next week's final. And they're not finished with Brendan Rodgers yet. Let's hear what he's got to say now about the season.
Well, this is what it feels like to be Celtic. I think that today belongs to us all, for the supporters, the players, the staff. It's been an incredible season so far, with one more title to go, but everyone has given everything on the pitch and off the pitch, and for that we're all champions today.
An 11th major honour for Rodgers.
Just how big a part that they play in creating what is this fantastic story of Celtic.
Looking to make it a third treble next week.
What Celtic is about, I think the expectation that is put on us is because of their drive and ambition to be the very best, and that's why we work every single day of our life to make them proud, and hopefully they're proud this season. Well, Brendan, I know everyone over there.
Well, it's been another very, very consistent campaign for Celtic, and they've eased to the title. Eventually a 17-point advantage over Rangers, who finished second. But the goal difference is absolutely incredible. The fact that they have a goal difference of 47 better than the next best team in this league further underlines the superiority that they have right now. The winners' medals for Messrs Forrest, Rodgers and McGregor. Celtic winning their 55th title, their 4th in a row. It was done with games to spare, and of course the 13th time in the last 14 seasons that this trophy has been lifted up into the sky here in Glasgow's East End. We're looking for a record-extending Scottish Cup next week. But for now, here, the Celtic players, the supporters, the staff will all celebrate another league title, because Celtic are champions 2024-25. The ticker tape goes up, the flamethrowers fire into the blue skies above here at Celtic Park. Another day of celebration, and there must, Stephen McGinn, be one, if not two, generations of Celtic supporters who've known nothing other than unbridled success.
Yeah, and that's why you need to soak into these moments. You know, St Mirren showed today that every game, long seasons, injuries, it's a lot of toil. To have that hunger, guys like Callum McGregor, James Forrest, to go and win and win and win and never come off. They've set a standard for Celtic players for generations to come.
Reminder, a huge day in the bottom six as it finishes off tomorrow. Ross County, Motherwell, St Johnstone, Dundee, the two to keep an eye on. Kilmarnock, Hearts, two teams without a manager in the respective dugouts. We've got playoff action to come for you later this afternoon. And across the Premiership, top six today, it finished Dundee United 2, Aberdeen 1, Hibernian 2, Rangers 2. And here, Celtic 1, St Mirren 1.